stench of cow manure hovers over this performance by the Dolphins.
Absolutely. I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere, man. Travel, I've had my share, man. I've been everywhere. I've been to Reno, Chicago, Fargo, Minnesota, Buffalo, Toronto, Winslow, Sarasota, Wichita, Tulsa, Ottawa, Oklahoma, Tampa, Panama, Mattawa, Lava. We're going to South Carolina, and Oklahoma, and Arizona, and North Dakota, and New Mexico, and Texas, and New York. I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere, man. We're going to California, and New York. We're going to South Dakota, and Oregon. I've had my share, man. I've been everywhere. And North Dakota, and New Mexico. And the Boston, Charleston, Dayton, Louisiana. And Oregon. We're going to California and Texas. And Santa Fe, Calaveras, Glen Rock, Black Rock, Little Rock, Austin. We're going to South Dakota and Michigan. And Lake, Devils Lake, Crater Lake, and Deep Lake. I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere, man. I've had my share, man. I've been everywhere. And then we're going to Washington, D.C. to take back the White House.
Yeah, I just felt like screaming, you know. When you work for these bastards, you feel like screaming a lot. Anyway, it's 10:42 at 560 WQAM. This is QAM where we're not fast, we're not slow, we're just half-assed. Anyway, I just want to get that out of my system. Man, these people are such goofballs. Anyway, here's the poll from yesterday. We got to, because we got to get both breaks in, right? I'm assuming?
That would be right.
That would be correct. That would be...
absolutely correct, sir.
What's the greatest problem the world faces today? We asked yesterday. Of course, by now it could be changing, you know.
Right.
But anyway, yesterday you said over 1,900 votes. Pretty good. Religious fanaticism.
Oy!
Too many Farbissen out there.
Oy!
Religious fanatics, 819. George W. Bush, speaking of religious nuts, 667. He's going to win, though. I hate to break the news to you. Overpopulation, 231. Global warming, 70. AIDS, 70. And starvation, 45.
I'm dying over here.
Out of over 1,900 votes. So, overpopulation, well, that kind of moved up there after I chastised the audience for not paying enough attention to that. Quit making all those unwanted babies, you maniacs.
Yeah.
The more, you know what they say, the rich get richer and the poor have babies, and that is absolutely correct. The people who can least afford to have them keep reproducing like frickin' rabbits, like cockroaches. Lunatics, maniacs. Tell that silly man in a dress, cocksachois, okay? Probably hasn't had a good BM in 20 years, old coot. 10:43 at 560 WQAM. Happy Tuesday to you. Right now, as I speak, Armstrong Ford of Homestead wants to clear their lots and sell off all remaining 04s, and here are just some of the great deals waiting on you right now. An 04 F-150 pickup, you pay just $1 over invoice. New 04 Explorers, just $1 over invoice. Rangers, Crown Vics, Tauruses, and Focuses, all waiting for you at just $1 over invoice only at Armstrong Ford of Homestead. Plus, Armstrong Ford offers more value to you. When you buy your Ford from Armstrong Ford, you'll get their exclusive Tires and Batteries for Life program. That is absolutely correct. Tires and Batteries for Life. The value you get at Armstrong Ford doesn't stop there either, because right now you'll get a free Florida Sun Pass with any vehicle you be buying. If you're pressed for time, if you're like trying to put your life and a house back together again after all these hurricanes, Armstrong Ford knows your time is valuable, so call them and shop by phone. 305-247-5112. They'll even deliver that new vehicle right to you wherever you're hanging it out. Armstrong Ford of Homestead, locally owned and operated. They'll treat you just like family, and I guarantee you, I'll bet your Clarence and Duff and Greg's life, all three of you won't get a better deal on a Ford anywhere. And I'll even throw George Corso in there, too. No bait and switch, no phony deals. Armstrong Ford of Homestead, they're at 30725 South Dixie Highway. And I'll throw the Beasleys in there, too, just 20 minutes south of the 836. Check out the web, ArmstrongCars.com, and then drive a little and save hundreds, maybe thousands on that great new Ford only from Armstrong Ford of Homestead.
The Howard Stern Show. Neil Rogers, mornings and middays. And sports around the clock. 560 QAM.
No. Greg hates you.
Hello, this is Albert Kaida from Taliban Records inviting you American infidel to buy latest Cat Stevens collection.
You know Muhammad is right. Take your head off your body. Got a machete with a real sharp blade. How I wish I had an American hostage. Make those infidels pay.
Also including this classic.
I was on an airplane and suddenly was detained. They're mad 'cause I converted and wear a towel on my head. I'm being followed by an F-16. What do they want with me.
The money from your purchase does not go to fund terrorism, really.
It's not time to get off the plane. Just relax and take it easy. You're just dumb, that's your fault. It wouldn't happen if I were a Jew. Fine dark skin and a rag if you want a detainee.
Another variation on a classic.
I ask myself every day which American should pay. Tell me, who would Muhammad slay? I'm cutting through the neck of a woman. She lifted her veil and exposed herself.
So buy new Cat Stevens collection today for $19.95. Or you can pay with Visa, MasterCard, or weapons of mass destruction.
He is a Hamas looker, I should point that out to you, and an anti-Semite. But other than that, he never stole no freight train, old Cat Stevens. He just wants to hop on that peace train, just as long as there ain't no Jews on it. 10:49, it's 11 before 11 at 560, WQAM. Another day in paradise, baby. Every day at QAM is like another day in paradise. Where's that hell? Elvira, speaking of that, is our beaded curtain lady today. Cassandra Peterson, a.k.a. Elvira. I would never have known her real name.
Yeah, well, we did research.
I see. Did you know her real name before that?
I did. For a long time now.
Elvira, born September 17, 1949, in Manhattan, Kansas, no less. That would make her 55. Happy birthday, Elvira. She just turned 55 a few days ago. Anyway, going through all of her films is kind of pointless anyway, because they're all the same stuff. The Demons 5 is in production now. Scares and Dares, Elvira's Haunted Hills, Superstition, Attack of the Killer Bee movies, Real Wild Cinema, The Elvira Show, of course. Acting on Impulse, and about 85,000 other Jekyll and Hyde Together Again, Movie Macabre, King of the Mountain, Coast to Coast, Cheech and Chong's next movie, The Working Girls, Roma, a.k.a. Fellini Roma, Alan Quartermain in the Lost City of Gold. Oh, that's my favorite. And Heavy Metal Hunter, a whole bunch. Zillions, and
she was in Fellini's Roma?
That's what I just got through saying.
I had no idea.
Well, there you go. See, you learned something already. It's not even 11 o'clock yet. We've only been on a couple of minutes after the extravaganza that precedes us. Here's today's poll, and it's nothing all that exciting because it's something we've been doing for months. And we'll do it. I guess we'll do it one more time before the election. The election is 5 weeks away, and of course we've got some of those brilliant rocket scientists out there saying, "What election?" Oh yeah. You know, when you look at these latest polls now and you see that Bush is pulling further and further ahead, that's because he's at least consistent on every issue. Man, he's blown it. Everything.
Yeah.
You name it. I mean, you got oil is over $50 a barrel now. Gas is through the roof. The economy's in the crapper. He's the first president since Herbert Hoover that lost over 1 million jobs. That lost net jobs under his watch. Iraq is a quagmire. It's a nightmare. Even Roland Colin Powell on Sunday admitted that. It's hopeless. I mean, everything you look at is just a freaking nightmare. And yet, hey, he's coming up roses. And that's because when you look at the polls and you break down the states, and you look at the map, that you got the blue states and then you got the redneck states, is what you got. And America is basically a redneck country. That's what it's become. I'm not saying it never was anything different, but it's a mugwump redneck country. So if you look at the breakdown in the west, the far west, and the northeast, Kerry is way ahead. I mean, way, way ahead. All the other parts of the country, like especially the Midwest and the South, of course, Bush is way ahead. He's 23 points ahead in the Midwest. Now, that's kind of scary when you consider the Midwest consists also of Michigan and Wisconsin, Minnesota, right. Illinois, right? Mm-hmm. Missouri, and then, of course, a bunch of mugwump states. And Ohio? I'm not too sold on Ohio. After one trip to Cleveland, that was enough for me. And Lima, Ohio. Nothing could be finer than getting out of Lima. What a horrible place that is. So, you ever been there?
Just been through Ohio. Can't tell you exactly all.
Ever been through Lima, Ohio?
Can't say that I have.
Well, don't.
Not that I remember.
Ever been in Findlay, Ohio?
No, I've been Cincinnati, Cleveland.
Findlay, Ohio is the birthplace of Joe Marsh Jr.
Who?
Anyway, the election is 5 weeks away, which applies to you. I'm voting rock solid for Kerry.
Rock solid.
I'm voting rock solid for Bush.
Rock solid.
I'm leaning to Kerry. I'm leaning to Bush. I'll vote for Nader. And believe me, if you cast a vote for Nader, we will come to your house and we will kill you. I'm not voting. What? No, we're tracing. We got Eric on the case. Anybody, in fact, that's one of the reasons we're taking the poll so we can ferret out those Nader holes out there.
Are you threatening me?
Man. Let's see, I'll vote for Nader. I'm not voting. I'm not eligible to vote, which means either you're too young or you're like George, an illegal alien, or I don't give a schmidt. And believe me, there are plenty of those. And you know something? When it comes right down to it, I can't even say I blame those people anymore. It's so ponderous and tired, and they're so full of crap, all of them. It's just, it makes me want to barf. Why do I care anymore, you know? If you want 4 more years of this hell, like Teresa Hines Ketchup-Carey said, it's 4 years of hell. If you want another 4 years of it, you're going to get what you deserve. That's all. It's like the people that continue voting for Nader out there. They're just stubborn. Don't confuse us with the facts. Don't tell us we're wasting our vote. Don't tell us we're helping put Bush back in there again for 4 more years of hell. We'll do whatever the hell we want, and you'll like it, and we'll vote for Pat Buchanan if you don't like it. I got a lot of stuff here today. We might take a few calls. Good. Huh? When we do this particular poll, you don't need there's nothing to embellish. Unless they're going to, write in Ross Perot or something like that. WQAM, hello.
Yeah, hello?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I was just wondering if there was a program change. Is Howard David's show still on?
No, it is not.
Doi, 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 doi.
That was Mo doing a voice. He's got to do something. Don't we miss Mo a lot?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's like you know, when you have a really bad pain and it goes away. And for a while, you actually miss it. You know, when you've had a chronic pain for a long period of time.
No.
And then it just vanishes. And then it's like you miss it. You're so used to it, you know?
No.
Or like when you have a toothache and somebody extracts it and oh, gee, I kind of miss that aching feeling in my jaw.
No.
Yeah. Oh, come on. Are you, did you say no or Mo?
I said no.
I thought for sure you said no. That's what I thought.
I'm a homo?
Now, we got a pristine lineup today, and, of course, as long as the equipment here stays, I don't even want to go through it on the air. If the audience had any clue of how embarrassing this radio station is, they just can't get it done, and especially George Corso, man. This guy, this clown, is an accident waiting to happen. You could screw up a wet dream, Corso. You're just absolutely the most embarrassing, the most pathetic. Thank God for Fat Julio, who built pretty much the studio that I'm sitting in, along with the Toronto engineers. He was a good guy. He knew his stuff. He was competent, he was a fun guy, he was friendly, and that's why he got screwed, and that's why he ain't there no more. He wasn't part of the inner circle of misfits. Anyway, we got the Mad Dog at 2. The Humper is back. If you've been out of town, if you've been hiding, waiting for the hurricanes to pass by, the Humper. Henry Goldberg is back at 4 after a long hiatus, a long unnecessary hiatus. Marlins on deck at 6:30. The Marlins at the Expos as they kind of run out the string. They actually won a game last night in front of an announced crowd in Montreal of 3,900 and some odd. 8? You see that, Josh? 3,900?
Yeah, pretty pathetic.
Which means actually there might have been 500-600 people there. And why should they show up there? They know they're losing their team. They're not going anywhere. They suck. They're playing a team that also isn't going anywhere. So what's the incentive? Eddie K after the important baseball game tonight. 10:56, and like I said, it's a crucial game. I don't want to get Jeffrey Lurie upset. It's a crucial game, so be sure and tune in. Stay glued to it tonight, right here on We're Not Slow, We're Not Fast, We're Just Half-Assed WQAM. Hey, right now is one of those times when many of you might need help fast. Not half-assed, but really fast. Thankfully, Dial-A-Mattress delivers the same day all across South Florida. When you call 1-800-MATTRESS, you'll choose from the deepest and widest selection of bedding, all available for same-day delivery. Call 1-800-MATTRESS right now for factory direct prices and immediate delivery. And like always, like I've been telling you for years, you still pick the date and 2-hour window to fit your schedule. And Dial-A-Mattress shows up on time 99.7% of the time. That's 99.7%. Dial-A-Mattress is ranked #1 in customer satisfaction. They were winners of the 2004 Better Business Bureau Local Torch of Excellence Award. When you call 1-800-MATTRESS, you'll choose from the complete line of Sealy, Serta, King Coil, Simmons, Tempur-Pedic, and even Stearns & Bananas Foster 2, which everybody loves. All the smart folks are doing it. They're making that one easy call. I've been calling these folks for years, and you ought to do the same. Instead of wasting time and a lot of money helping pay those bedding and department stores' big overhead and schlepping all over town wasting gas, you just sit on your fat ass, rhymes with gas, and make that one easy call. 1-800-MATTRESS, 1-800-MATTRES.
You're listening to Neil Rogers exclusively on 560 QAM.
Oh, my God.
He's John the Maniac, the guy that was stabbed in the back. One day do Republicans, the next day Democrats. He's John the Maniac. He served his country well and was a POW. But in 2000, Bush called him a traitorous voodoo. He called his wife a druggie and trashed his daughter too. And now the kids supporting him, hugging him and on the lip. He's John the to support the little singer, John McCain. Talking about the Cheney, John McCain.
Rock solid.
Yeah, my favorite part of that spot is when he goes WWW. That's my favorite. I mean, you know,
rock solid.
That's pretty impressive too. But when he goes WWW, at any rate, don't be picking on the big.
Oh.
Because he can't help himself. Speaking of guys that can't help himself, I just noticed on our website there is something really sensational. Where did that come from?
What was that?
Loser Weekly magazine.
Oh, somebody emailed that to me this morning.
And making the cover of Loser Weekly, there's the man from the Wannstedt era. There's Dave Wannstedt.
We figured that probably would not be showing up on either the Dolphin or the QAM websites.
Man, that is just a beautiful thing. Yeah, you're fired, Dave, okay? You're fired. You're out. Bye-bye. Get lost. Go away. Don't come back. And take the two quarterbacks both with you. Although, quite frankly, from a Patriot fan standpoint, like I said, you're doing a hell of a job, Dave. Keep it up. An attorney was sentenced to a year and a half in jail for ambushing dozens of women while nude and taking pictures of their shocked expressions.
Oh, my God.
But Stephen Lennon, 34, I guess this is some of his dirty linen, huh?
Must be.
Stephen Lennon, 34, won't lose his law license and will be allowed to leave jail to continue working as a law clerk. This story is great. And it's from Columbus, Ohio. Oh, God. Ever since the rumors invaded there, it's never going to be the same again. He must start serving his time next week after being sentenced Monday under a plea bargain in Ohio's Franklin County Common Pleas Court. He pleaded guilty earlier this month to 53 misdemeanor counts of public indecency, sexual imposition, and criminal trespassing. Lennon, a former attorney for the Ohio House Republican Caucus,
oh, my God,
has admitted to photographing women while he was unclothed over nearly 2 years, gaining the name the Naked Photographer. He apologized in court, but none of his victims was there. Judge Tommy Thompson, no kin to Cheesehead Tommy Thompson. And you notice how we don't see him no more?
Right.
Declined to label Lennon a sexual offender, saying he was not a threat to the community, was unlikely to repeat the offense. Thompson ordered Lennon to keep seeking psychiatric treatment. Lennon said in court that he meets with a psychologist weekly and goes to daily meetings for people addicted to sex. Prosecutors said they might appeal the judge's decision not to make Lennon register as a sexually oriented offender, and maybe if they could prove he once voted Democratic, maybe he'll change his mind, the judge. Oh, look at this. Here's a little liner today. We're out there doing something, mingling with the community, really getting involved with the South Florida community. Look for the QM van right now at Tintec Plus at 137th Avenue and Coral Way in Miami. Stop by to win T-shirts, the ones that the QM staff have to pay for if they want them, but you might win one for free, and register to win a pair of tickets to Sunday's Dolphins-Jets game. And you think the last 2 weeks have been embarrassing? You ain't seen nothing yet. You think that long string of losses to the Jets that went on there for how many years?
About 30, man.
You think that was bad? You ain't seen nothing yet. I think a lot of people are going to start going just so they can boo and carry on and scream and get drunk, you know what?
Yeah, well, a lot of that's going on already.
No, but yeah, that's true. Why would that be any different from any other Sunday or Monday night? How is that poll coming? Really, the first wave on there was just shocking. The election is 5 weeks away. Which of these applies to you? We got already 143 votes. I'm voting
rock solid
for Kerry. 110, that's 77%. That's either that our audience loves Kerry or just hates Bush like poison, probably more the latter. And plus we'd probably chase many of those Bush people away. Too bad. Bye-bye. We'll survive without you. They want to hear you. It's the old parrot thing. They just want to hear the Fox News, the right-wing crap, the Russia pill-popping crap over and over again. Ditto, ditto, ditto. They want to hear lies. And, of course, Karen Hughes says, oh, we don't want to get dirty now and start using words like lies. No, we want to put on something dignified like the windsurfing spot. That's right. Pretty classy, yeah. What a bunch of Farbissina Goya, man. 143 votes, 110 for Kerry. I'm voting rock solid for Bush.
Rock solid.
9, like his head. I'll vote for Nader 7. I'm leaning to Bush 6. I'm leaning Kerry 4. I don't give a Schmidt 3. I'm not eligible to vote 3, and I'm not voting 1. Well, I think we're going to have a gigantic turnout and fool all the pollsters and the experts. You know what?
This crowd, anyway.
No, seriously. And, see, I'm saving this for a little bit later, but last night on CBS, and yes, I still do watch CBS, in fact, even more enthusiastically than ever before, now that I know for sure that we have an alternative to Fox Fascist News and CNN, which is nothing more than Fox Light. Record overseas vote expected. There are going to be not hundreds, not thousands, not hundreds of thousands, but millions of votes overseas this year, the largest in history. And you want to know why?
Oh, I know why.
Because people are pissed off and fired up.
No, they're happy to be there. Flowers,
well,
candy.
They're happy to be there, too. I'm not talking about the flower. I'm not talking about Iraq. No, they are. Did you see the thing last night?
No.
I had one woman on there who's lived in Britain for quite some time, for years. In fact, she's developed kind of a Brit accent herself. And she pointed out that she's never had any anti-American sentiment before, but now because of the fact that the whole world hates us like poison, she's starting to get like some blowback as well. If I can I say that?
No.
Some brown back as well. The Bush administration takes heat for... Oh, look at that. We got a couple of calls. I guess we better intersperse one or two, because once I get going here, there won't be no stopping me today. I have got a pile, man, that would have won Howard's contest last Friday. Hands down your pants. WQAM, hello.
I have got a pile.
QAM?
Yes, good morning. Neil Rogers, please.
Yes, sir, speaking. Sounds like Woody.
Neil, if the Dolphins play the Marlins...
WQAM, hello.
Yes, I'm ready for the vote and for the poll.
You ready to vote? Okay.
I'm rock solid for Nader. I mean, for
That was great.
Rock solid.
You should have put the period after that, pal. You're rock solid, all right. A brain like a brick. I told you these calls would be great. This is the meat and potatoes, the bread and butter of QAM. This is what it's all about. WQAM, hello.
Yeah, Neil.
Yes, sir.
Years ago, there was a highway patrol officer in Tamarack area.
Broderick Crawford.
That he used to pull girls over, get their address, and then he would get naked in the parking lot at night and sneak into their house and steal their panties.
Excellent. I bet you he knew Cecil Collins. Yeah, Cecil just wanted to take a look, dip his wick.
Maybe pinch a little.
Right, maybe he was like the Liberace. Maybe he had a candelabra. The Bush administration takes heat for a CIA plan to influence Iraq's elections. Now, we don't want to say fix, because Karen Hughes doesn't want us to use that kind of like language, you know? Like lie and fix elections. Of course, if anybody's got good experience fixing elections... See, I'm getting choked up from this. I'm under a lot of stress from these bastards down there. I'll tell you that right now. They make my life miserable. In fact, some of you down there ought to rot in hell. I don't want to mention any names, because they're very uptight. And then Matty Bell will be running around. You hear what he said? You hear what he said? Hey, Matty, screw you, you little... I'd love to step on his ass. In fact, you know what I'd like to do? I'd like to step into that elevator there just one time with the water Nazi on one side, Matty Bell on there, and step on both of them at the same time. Oh, God. President Bush and interim Iraqi Prime Minister... they spelled this wrong. Ayad Alawi, this is not how you spell his name, insisted last week that Iraq would go ahead with elections scheduled for January despite continuing violence, but U.S. officials tell Time magazine that the Bush team ran into trouble with another plan involving those elections, a secret finding written several months ago proposing a covert CIA operation to aid candidates favored by Washington. Kind of like what we did in Chile, you know, with Salvador Allende. Won't see him no more. A source says the idea was to help such candidates whose opponents might be receiving covert backing from other countries like Iran, but not necessarily to go as far as to rig the elections. But not necessarily to go so far, unless it became necessary.
Right.
If it was absolutely necessary, well. Lawmakers from both parties raised questions about the idea when it was sent to Capitol Hill. In particular, House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi came unglued when she learned about what a source described as a plan for the CIA to put an operation in place to affect the outcome of the elections. And again, how come the media aren't screaming about this? Huh? What the hell happened to Valerie Plame? What the hell happened to all of these things?
We have ways.
And then, of course, CBS gets intimidated, and so they bury the thing about the yellow cake, about the Niger, all that business, all the phony memos, all those documents that were nothing but a big lie to justify all the debt. And you know something? There were 2 more U.S. soldiers. Usually I start the show with the update with a story on that. I can't find it. Lynn Samuels had a link on there, but poor Lynn, she does her own linking and stinking on that website. And unfortunately, as she's done many times in the past, you click on it, and it links to the wrong story. But there were 2 more U.S. soldiers killed in Iraq yesterday. It's just that nobody's talking about it anymore because it's become so commonplace. So it's about 1,050 is the magic number now, and nobody cares. Anyway, she became unglued. Pelosi had strong words with National Security Advisor Condoleezza Rice in a phone call about the issue. How do you like that? She had strong words with Condoleezza. I'd like to have strong words with her and tell her...
You bitch, you slut, you whore.
That's what Nancy called her. Rice spokesman Sean McCormick says, I cannot in any way comment on classified matters, the existence or non-existence of findings. But McCormick says there have been and continue to be concerns about efforts by outsiders to influence the outcome of the Iraqi elections, including money flowing in from Iran. This raises concerns about whether there will be a level playing field for the election. In other words, they got to push on the one side, so we got to push back, you know?
Right.
They hit us, we hit them back. This situation has posed difficult dilemmas about what action, if any, the U.S. should take in response. In the final analyzation, we've adopted a policy that will not try to influence the outcome of the upcoming Iraqi election by covertly helping individual candidates for office. A senior U.S. official hinted that under pressure from Capitol Hill, the administration scaled back its original plans. This was a tough call. We went back and forth on it in the U.S. government. We consulted the Hill on this question. Our embassy in Baghdad will run a number of overt programs to support the democratic electoral process as the U.S. does elsewhere in the world. Right. I got news for you, all you Iraqis. You're going to get democracy and like it, whether you like it or not, whether you want it or not. That's it. Crude oil prices top $50 a barrel. That's pretty crude, you know it. And thank you, Mr. President. I'm not going to waste any time today because we always forget every day. Thank you, Mr. President, for those low gas prices. Crude oil futures contracts topped the psychological milestone of $50 per barrel for the first time ever Tuesday, surging to new record levels that could unsettle oil importing nations. Analysts said instability in the Middle East, political unrest in Nigeria, Africa's top oil exporter, and the Caribbean's hurricanes were keeping traders on edge about world supplies. Every issue, you look at it, from unemployment to Iraq, to the world hating us like poison, to all of these things, to lying through your teeth, to all the dead soldiers and all the dead Iraqis, every single issue, and that's why the president's popularity ratings are up to 54%, highest since January. Because the American people are dumber than posts. See, that story yesterday was good till the guy changed his mind. He was trying to talk himself into it. You don't have to talk yourself into going to Brandy's to get a great pair of shoes because by now, after all these years of my talking about it for a coon's age, you should know that the best deal in town is waiting at your Brandy's Shoes in Pompano Beach. They got the best prices in town, the best personal service, and the biggest selection of men's and women's name brand shoes. No off-brands that came in from Yugoslavia somewhere. They got Rockports, Florsheim, SAS, Sperry, Timberland, Naturalizer, all the other brands you know and love. Brandy's is open daily, Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. till 9 p.m., Sundays 10 to 5, in the same great location they've been serving you and your feet for years now, 1290 North Federal Highway in Pompano Beach. And right now is the right time to buy Rockports this week, because at Brandy's, all great men's and women's Rockport styles are 20% off the regular already low prices. So be sure and come into the store this week and save like crazy on Rockports, or visit them on the web at brandyshoes.com.
You're listening to Neil Rogers exclusively on 560 QAM.
I need some action.
Bush has the whole Arab world really mad. He's got the whole Arab world really mad. He made the whole Arab world really mad. Bush has the whole Arab world so mad. Those prisoners were treated really bad. They made them strip naked for a photograph, and all of those soldiers had a laugh. It made the whole Arab world so mad.
Oi!
They said Iraq would fall right in our lap, but now it's nothing but a trap. George Bush and his cronies are full of crap. He made the whole Arab world so mad. There's a bunch of grieving widows feeling sad, and a lot of little children have no dad. This war has turned out really bad. He made the whole Arab world so mad. There's a suicide bomber in Iraq with a bunch of TNT strapped to his back, and when it explodes, it's gonna...
Just like that. Well, you know that mushroom cloud that Iraq is going to unleash on us? Oh, it's not Iraq? Well, they were close. 253 votes. I want to crack 1,000 during the show today by 2 o'clock.
You want to crack?
I want to crack. Well, why the hell not? We ought to be able to get over 1,000 votes during the show, even though, of course, we're on much reduced time now because of the fact that who the hell wants to hear this show. But 253 votes already. We can do over 1,000 between now and 2 o'clock, right?
Indeed.
We want everybody out there. We want you not just voting on this poll, but like 5 weeks from today. Boy, that's scary. And, of course, Thursday night in the Gables, in Moral Gables, is the first of the debates. Wow. I don't know what to make about that, you know?
I don't know. You heard all the rules.
Especially when I keep hearing about, well, you know, Bush is more likable and this. I mean, you know, Gore was wooden, but geez. Oh, I got a great story about that, too. I sure hope I printed it out. Oh, no. Yeah, I did. I got it somewhere. I got quite a pile here today. Oh, yeah, it's by John Nichols on The Nation, but it's way down the list. You know what else I want to do before the end of the show, besides leave?
I'm afraid to ask.
No, remember that story I read on Friday from Diana on the Globe?
Mm-hmm.
And the tabloid, which generally, why the hell would we read it, other than for titillation purposes, some of those stories from the tabloids. But this was a great column. In fact, I wish that most of the columnists around the country would write something as meaningful and as poignant and as well said as Diana. We'll get back to you, Diana, because I want to read that again several times between now and Election Day. Don't forget, look for that QAM van right now at Tin Tech Plus, 137th Avenue and Crowell Way in Miami. Stop by to win T-shirts, which is really way above our usual. Maybe that's why I didn't get my check on time this payday. Maybe we had to pay for the T-shirts. And registered to win a pair of tickets to Sunday's Dolphins-Jets game. I'm telling you, you people over there in Naples, man, you are just a bunch of grave robbers. It's unbelievable what a bunch of schlumpers you are, you know what? Just a schlumpy old goyim. And you can lick my tushy. How do you like that? Anyway, here's the poll results so far. I'm just going to throw it all out there today. I'm just in that kind of a nasty mood. I was in a very good mood when I woke up, but then, you know this place.
No, what happened?
In no time at all, they can, turn you around, so to speak. That's what Duff says.
Rectum.
They're always turning his ass around. Anyway, the election is 5 weeks away from today. Which of these applies to you? 267 votes. They're starting to pour in heavy now, baby. We can make that 1,000. We can make it happen, like Chicago said. I might just play that a few times. It's 5 minutes long. I'm voting rock solid for Kerry, baby.
Rock solid.
198, 74.1%. I'm voting rock solid.
Rock solid.
For Bush, and you have to have rocks in your head to be doing that. You have to be a masochist. You have to be a lunatic. You have to be a crazy person, kind of like that. Or just rich or a religious nut or both. 26, 9.7%. I'll vote for Nader, 10, 3.7%. I wasn't prepared for that.
I think that's
3.7% are going to vote for Nader.
Those are jokers.
No, they're not.
Maybe
No, they're not.
For real.
Why?
But you say that, but you know it's going to happen. Those are people. Well, Ralph Nader stands for, everybody gets a free 65 Corvette with 2 extra fan belts in case they break. I'm leaning to Bush 9. I'm leaning to, I'm not eligible to vote 7. I'm not voting 6. I'm leaning to Kerry 6, and I don't give a Schmidt only 5 out of 267 out of our usual who gives a crap audience, you know? That's kind of shocking. WQAM, hello.
Yeah, the poll. Rock solid for Kerry.
WQAM, hello.
God, this is boring.
Oh, he's back. Boy, we've missed you so much, man, like you miss an enormous bowling ball-sized tumor when they excise it. WQAM, hello. Not there. QAM, hola. QAM.
Neil.
Yes, sir.
Hey, what's up? I'm calling on the poll, and I got another comment, too.
What do you mean? What are these people calling on the poll? What does that mean? The poll is on the Internet. We're not polling on the air.
Well, I ain't got a computer in front of me, so I'm listening to your radio show every day. I gotta put in on the poll at least.
Okay, put in.
Rock solid on Kerry.
Yeah.
And now my comment is
What is your comment?
on these sorry ass. Excuse my mouth there. On the Dolphins, they're really.
What's wrong? Wait a minute. I thought that was quite a compliment. Sorry ass Dolphins. I thought that was that's one of the nicer things that's been said about them this season so far.
Well, I'm your caller yesterday on that 0-16 record for the Dolphins.
You called yesterday? Get lost. Or he said on your call yesterday, or whatever he said. I think he was the one, right? Go away. I don't want to talk about the Dolphins. We got important fish to fry, okay, like them. It's a fish fry. Let's fry Dave Wannstedt to start. That sounds like a good idea. Fried grouper. Okay. He looks like quite a trooper, don't he? Dave Wannstedt. Looks like one of those with a handlebar mustache kind of thing. If you let it grow a little bit. He's a loser. You're a loser, Wannstedt. I knew that before you came into town. We knew that in Chicago. You're a professional loser. You haven't got a clue. My favorite, though, is the way he gets all flustered and walks up and down the sideline with that, like, oh, gee, we got screwed again. Look. And then, of course, when the kid kicked the ball back, 10 yards, remember that?
No.
Josh remembers that when a kid kicked it, accidentally ran into the ball, kicked it back from midfield back to his own 40-yard line. Yeah. They're like, oh, you're putting it at the 40. Oh, gee, we screwed up again. It was great. It was. I didn't know it was comedy. We did that again. Oh, God, we're so bad. We are sorry ass. You're right, Dave. You suck. Group accuses U.S. of imposing book ban.
Oh, my gosh.
How unusual. I mean, you people out there that love to embrace fascism, baby, religious fanaticism and fascism, well, then Bush is right up your alley, okay, and all his neocons. Ted Kennedy was on not Crossfire, what is it? What's the show? Yeah, on Cross-Eyed last night. No, on Chris Matthews. What's that show?
Hardballs.
Hardballs, yeah. He was on Hardballs. He kicked some good ass. He was nice going, Ted. Have another one. A group of organizations representing publishers and authors sued the federal government Monday, saying it is blocking the works of authors in countries such as Cuba, Iran, and Sudan from reaching the U.S. of A. In the lawsuit in U.S. District Court in Manhattan, the groups asked a federal judge to remove government restrictions that allegedly block the free exchange of information and ideas. Otherwise, it said, Americans who want information from Cuba, Iran, and Sudan are limited to reading what's already been written in those countries. The lawsuit noted that authors in those countries already work under government restrictions and blamed the Treasury Department's Office of Foreign Assets Control for, in effect, extending the force of foreign censorship to the U.S., The office was named as a defendant because it enforces U.S. trade embargo regulations requiring publishers to obtain license to edit articles and books by authors in some other countries. I bet you the people at Blockbuster love that, huh? Same mentality, same idea. A message for comment left with the Treasury Department of Washington, D.C. was not immediately returned. I can't imagine why. Plaintiffs include the Association of American University Presses, the Professional and Scholarly Division of the Association of the American Publishers, and the PEN American Center, who are getting sick and tired of all this censorship now. Everything is banned in the USA. Pretty stinking sad. Okay, I'll tell you right now, I'm never ever going to put on our website or read on the air on this show, not that it makes any difference, but I'm just my own druthers, any of these CNN, Gallup, USA Today polls, because the Gallup factor in there always exaggerated, especially after we found out that their methodology is they go out and they ask 400 Republicans and 10 Democrats, who you plan on voting on, and Bush always has a bigger lead on their poll. Plus, like I started to say before, we've got that record overseas vote expected, which we got the story on that if you missed it on CBS News last night. And there are a few tears in the CBSI, but too bad.
And all those new voters that registered, they're not getting polled because it's all based on previous, blah, blah, blah.
And all the young voters with their cell phones who don't have like a regular phone listing in the directory and things, all these things. There could be like a surprise, okay? Not an October surprise, but a November 2 surprise. If it's not close enough for them to fix it again. 26 past 11 at 560 WQAM. If you find yourself looking in the mirror and thinking you could be doing much better if you took care of that hair loss, then get to the phone right now and call the best in the business, Chuck Alfieri. Charlie's been helping the famous and not so famous and the infamous look their best for over 25 years, but you wouldn't even know his work when you see it because Charlie created the best, most natural system in the business that looks like the real thing. The most critical area of any hair system is the hairline, and Charlie's new skin-like hair system is 100% undetectable. The hair appears to be growing right out of your scalp. Charlie's work is guaranteed, too. You try a system for 30 days.
About 30, man.
And after a month, if you don't love the way it looks and feels and smells, if you're not getting more action than you ever dreamed of, return it for a full refund. Make the call today, toll-free. There's absolutely no obligation. Call 1-800-321-2413. Tell Charlie you heard about it here on the world-famous Neil Rogers Show and get you your special QAM $200 discount off the regular $800 price of the natural hairline system. Again, a $200 discount just for mentioning my name. The secret to a great hair system is make sure nobody can tell you're wearing one, Mo. And Charlie's new skin-like hair system is as natural as it gets. You won't believe how much better and younger you look after Charlie takes care of you. So call that toll-free number today, 1-800-321-2413. That's 1-800-321-2413. I love this piece of copy, by the way, Troy, that chops off at the end of the last sentence. Very good, Troy. You're doing it, baby. You're on the ball. And by the way, nice hairdo. Or check him out on the web at charlesalfieri.com.
You're listening to Neil Rogers exclusively on 560 QAM.
To the Toronto Maple Leafs, and you're listening to the Hockey Authority, Neil God.
My bad. But I'm under a lot of stress. You understand that?
I do.
She's oily, and old. Looks like the Quaker roast guy. Smells from the body roll mold. Barbara Bush has body bells and eyes full of her ice popped out. It happened when she realized she raised more criminal clout. Barbara Bush has body bells and eyes. And she's nasty, old and crafty, and she raised more boys than nasty. She's atrocious and takes some bricks to anyone who says they want no boys. Walks like she's carrying a bowling ball between her thighs and has body bells and eyes. She doesn't reach a score, as if she's always surprised. She's wiggle when she talks. Barbara Bush has body bells and eyes. She gave us George Bush and Jeb Bush, not to mention Neil and Bob and Bush. He'll be rich and fat and smell magic sauce on a big hat. Barbara Bush resembles Ernest Borgnine on a bad day with Marty Feldman.
The thing that's really scary in the latest Washington Post ABC News poll, and you can go on our website and see the story, and if you go back to the original, the link to the original story in the Post, then you can go on there and you can click on and get all the details, all the breakdowns by sex, by race, by region. It's kind of scary. Because even women, according to that poll, 49% for Bush, 46% for Kerry, which is really scary when you consider that Gore won the women by 11%. So Kerry's got a lot of work to do, okay, as soon as he takes off that Fred Gwynn mask on Thursday. Wouldn't that be something? If he took off the mask and it turned out he looked just like Bubba. Yeah. I mean, Bubba's you have to wear some elevator shoes. Right. I think that would be a great prank to play on the Bush people. Walks in with a Kerry mask on, with that Munster mask, and then all of a sudden, just as they're about to start the debate, he whips off the mask, and it's Bubba. 375 votes. We got a shot at what, about 500? We got to get to 1,000 today by 2 o'clock, or else it's the last show I'm ever doing. Today. 375 votes on that poll. The election is 5 weeks from today. I know it's getting ponderous. A lot of people, you got to do this again. Hey, it's only 5 weeks away, baby. Zion America, man. I couldn't care. What do I care? I spend 95% in a free country, which ain't America. 277 say they're rock solid for Kerry, 71.2%. Rock solid for Bush, as in rocks in their head, 45, 11.5%. I'm not eligible to vote 14. I'm leaning to Bush 14. Well, lean the other way, okay? We're going to turn you another house of Leaning Tower Pizza. You're leaning to Bush. I'll vote for Nader 12. Well, guess what? Yeah, that's for you Nader voters. 3% for them. I'm leaning to Kerry 12. I don't give a Schmidt 8, and I'm not voting 7. Yeah, everybody who votes for Nader will be shot as they leave the polls, okay? That's not a threat. That's a promise. We have days. So govern yourselves accordingly. We'll be looking over your shoulder. Here's a fact that really rambles on, but it's kind of amusing. I have to agree with your comment that Bush is going to win, as much as I hate to admit it. Well, you think I like it? It don't look pretty good right now. It looks pretty bad. In fact, I think the Dolphins got a better chance of sweeping all their remaining 13 games than Kerry has winning the election. Hey, they got a shot. They got a shot, that's right. Just like Nader's voters are going to get. I can just see the debate this week is so tired and old, they've already lowered the expectation. Well, they spent 95% of the time so far screaming about Kenneth Macho in Vietnam 30 years ago. Not that there are any real issues, of course. They've already lowered the expectation, so when Bush says two words without stumbling, like Abu Ghraib, the media will declare him a master debater. The candidates cannot speak directly to each other because if Kerry did, Bush would crumble. So it's just going to be a bunch of speeches about flip-flopping and fuzzy math. But that's what's the point when you can't even convince the very people Bush and company are screwing over to vote against him? That's a good point. The Democrats and Americans have no one to blame but themselves, so I'm voting rock solid for Kerry. Rock solid. On www.bigo.com. But in my mind, I don't give a Schmidt anymore. I think it'll be interesting to see what my good neighbors and armchair warriors, Mr. and Mrs. Right-Wing Julio, will do after Bush gets a second term and drafts their baby hee-ho who graduates high school in 2005 into the military to get slaughtered in Iraq. Unless, of course, he's him out of Cone, which is a saving grace. Yeah. Saving grace. So that's the deal. Bush, now here's the poll that I will use, although I think most of them are full of crap. You know, there's the Zogby poll and the Pew poll and the May poll. Bush maintains lead in the latest Washington Post ABC News poll. He maintains a clear lead over Democrat John F. Kerry, continues to be perceived by most voters as the candidate best able to deal with Iraq. I guess that's because things are going so well over there. That's right. Also on the war on terrorism, which I didn't know we were fighting. I thought, have we got Osama your mama yet? No, but we got Cat Stevens. Bush currently receives 51% among likely voters, while Kerry gets 45%. Independent Ralph Nader gets 1%. Oh, thank God. Nationally, in their poll, Nader only gets 1% of people crazy enough to just throw away that vote. Among all registered voters, Bush holds a 7% lead. By healthy margins, Bush continues to be seen as the stronger leader and better able than Kerry to keep the U.S. secure from terrorist attacks. You see, that business of keeping everybody peeing in their pants all the time, and Tom Ridge with his yellow light and purple light and green light, all of that crap, paid off big time. On virtually every other issue and measure of character, Bush holds the advantage over his rival among registered voters, findings that underscore the importance of the upcoming presidential debates to the Kerry campaign. I'm going to tell you again, and didn't I say it weeks ago, that Kerry blew it. He had an opportunity. He could have driven a fleet of Mack trucks through there. They give him an opening that big. Even the Dolphin running backs could have gotten through there. It was so big. But no, he would have still voted to give the president. I mean, and then, of course, he tries to, waffle on that. And, what he really meant was he would have dealt with Saddam the right way. And, We needed to have a ventriloquist. We needed to have either Ted Kennedy or Howard Dean speaking the words while Kerry moved his lips ever so slowly. Kerry continues to be viewed unfavorably by a plurality of voters. Fewer than 4 in 10, 37% say they got a positive impression of him, while 42% have an unfavorable impression of him. That finding suggests that more people intend to vote for him than personally like him, and highlights the fact that Kerry continues to be buoyed by a strong anti-Bush vote despite broad reservations about him. Oh, that's the understatement of the century. In a survey that offered generally good news to Bush and the Nazis, there were some troubling notes. A majority of voters, 55%, say they... See, this is what really kills me. He's got this 54% approval rating now, highest since January. But 55% say they were that Bush is too reckless in making policy decisions, and once again, fewer than half of all voters say the war in Iraq was worth the cost. A clear signal that events in Iraq, perhaps even more than events on the campaign trail, ultimately may decide this election. And just like Colin Powell said, no less than him, than the the mild-complected Mocha Schwarzer said on Sunday. It's bad news, man. It'd be bad. It's going to get worse. I bet you they weren't too pleased with that. I bet you he got taken out to the woodshed again after that show.
Oh, no, not for another spanking.
Yeah. I bet you they spanked his ass and Wolf Blitzkrieg, both of them at the same time. But here's some hope. Andrea Marsh spent part of her summer on the streets of Paris shopping for Americans. Specifically, she's looking for Americans who might be persuaded to vote. As CBS News correspondent Wyatt Andrews reports, this year it's not a tough sell. All around the world, both Republicans and Democrats who have mobilized to register Americans living abroad say they're overwhelmed by the response. We are swamped this time, says Louise Myers of Democrats Abroad. Everybody wants to vote. People who haven't voted in 30 and 40 years are coming to vote. From a crowded registration table in Paris to an outdoor cafe in Korea to a senior citizen center in Israel and a packed political meeting in London, all signs indicate that an explosion of new voters is going to happen. Overseas Americans could add millions of votes to this year's tally. One American in Paris, Frank DeBona, who hasn't voted in 30 years, explains why. 2 words, he says, George Bush. President Bush's handling of the war on terror is the issue overseas and the reason behind all this newfound energy. At a pro-Kerry rally in London, most voters blame Mr. Bush for making America mistrusted and hated, despised. As an American living overseas for the first time this year, I've been subjected to real anti-American feeling. It's been very vocal and very disturbing, says Linda Butler, a voter in London. But travel to Israel, if you dare, and many Americans here admire how the president projects strength. You see, all you got to do is suck up to Israel, man, and all of a sudden they start putting the right schmatas on. Oh, he never stole a freight train. He's wonderful. Bush recognizes the danger that's facing the U.S. and is doing a great deal to face that danger, says Naomi Leitner, a voter living in Israel. Well, guess what? Kushner and Tulsis, Naomi. Typically, Americans overseas don't bother to vote, but this election is about America's standing in the world, and this time it's about where they live, and they're going to vote by the millions. How do you like that? Now, if we can just make sure that those votes are counted. 20 till noon at 560 WQAM. Do you want to know more about following a low-carb diet if you're one of those millions of fat people out there who's choking on your own fat? Do you want the best-tasting, largest selection of low-carb foods at the best price? Then here's a store I guarantee you're going to love, Delights of West Boca. Whether you're starting or restarting the Atkins, the Sugar Busters, and South Beach, any low-carb, sugar-free diet, Delights of West Boca has always been the #1 low-carb store in town. Of course, you can go to your local grocery store and get your meat and cheese and meat and seafood, stuff like that. But if you want some stuff with some great taste and variety, this is the place, Delights. And if you want to have a store where you can sample before you buy anything, this is also the place. And also, at Delights, you can have all your questions about low-carb answering by the staff who are experts. So if you want friendly service, unbeatable low prices, come to the low-carb headquarters, Delights of West Boca, with over 1,200 products like Carbolite ice cream, breads, pasta, chocolates, brownies for all you brownie hounds out there, cookies, and lots more. Delights is open every day, 7 days a week from 10 a.m. till 10 p.m. Delights is located on the northeast corner of Glades and 441, right next to Boston Market. Call them toll-free at 1-877-LOW-CARB, or on the web it's lowcarb.com, LOWCARB. Don't forget, there's only one, but it's an unbelievable store. It's Delights of West Boca, your official Atkins Retail Center.
You're listening to Neil Rogers, exclusively on 560 QAM.
Every day the news is warning we have a yellow light. That must mean they have something to hide. That's how they manipulate headlines. What screams me any kind of subterfuge is useful, like a yellow light. There's line high, the corporate media right, and that That's why we have a yellow light. Can't explain the meaning of what these lights do. So come with sit at his desk with a set of blow pens and noodles cartoons. Anytime they want to confuse the news, they have a yellow light. But that means something they can't define. That's why we have a yellow light, a big light.
See, I'd like to see Dan Rather come on 6:30 tonight on CBS and say the same bastards who fixed the 2000 presidential election in the U.S. are now trying to put the fix in on the much ballyhooed January elections in Iraq. That new bastion of American democracy and fixed election.
Right, an island of freedom.
Yeah, I would high-five the TV set. You go, boy. Nice going, Dan. But it ain't going to happen because now they've been put in their place. And those of you who think that El Presidente is doing a great job on fighting terror, this story also ought to have people peeing in their pants. And, it was on the news for about 3 seconds. That was the end of that. You won't hear no more about it. The FBI has a backlog of hundreds of thousands. Let me say it again. Hundreds of thousands of hours of untranslated audio recordings from terrorism and espionage investigations, despite large increases in money and personnel for translation since the 2001 terror attacks, a Justice Department audit released yesterday be finding out. Hundreds of thousands of hours of untranslated audio recordings from terrorism and espionage investigations. This is the administration that's doing a fine job of fighting terror.
Oh, we're fine.
In addition, the audit by Glenn A. Fine, who said...
Oh, we're fine.
You're making that up.
No, I'm not. That's his name, Glenn A. Fine. The agency's Inspector General found that more than a third of al-Qaeda intercepts authorized by a secret federal court were not reviewed within 12 hours of collection as required by FBI Director Robert Mueller, who makes a hell of a pasta, by the way. Our audit highlighted the significant challenges facing the FBI to ensure that translation of key information is performed timely and accurately, Fine said.
Oh, we're fine.
The audit was completed in July in classified form. The version released Monday was edited to remove sections classified as secret by the FBI. Ooh. Since 9/11, more than 123,000 hours of audio in languages associated with terrorism still had not been reviewed as of April 2004. The audit found, in addition, more than 370,000 hours of audio associated with counterintelligence had not been renewed. You're talking about 500,000 hours of audio. And they're going, blah, 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 blah. Who's ordering lunch? This backlog existed even though the FBI's language services funding had increased from $21.5 million in fiscal 2001 to about $70 million in fiscal 2004 as they continue pitching your tax dollars down the toilet. The number of linguists has risen from 883 to over 1,214 over that period. The FBI also is not meeting Mueller's requirement that all al-Qaeda communications collected under the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act be reviewed within 12 hours of interception. During April 2004, the audit found 36% of such communications were not even received at FBI headquarters within 12 hours, much less reviewed. The audit found that the FBI still lacks the necessary language personnel to do all the needed translation work. I guess if they find any more fags in there, they better fire them too like they were doing. That's one of the reasons they don't have all the personnel they need to do all the translation work needed, and that limitations in its technology, especially in computer storage capacity, also cause problems that lead to backlogs. The audit made 18 recommendations for the FBI, many of which have already been implemented, Fine said.
Oh, we're fine.
FBI official told auditors they are hiring linguists as quickly as possible. The FBI appears to be taking steps to address these issues, which are critical components of the FBI's counterterrorism and counterintelligence efforts, Fine said. How do you like that? Isn't that enough to make you want to pee your pants? We're doing it, baby. We're making you safe from terror. We're really doing a great job on al-Qaeda, even though, of course, and let me just point this out to you. I know this will make tears come to your eyes. Even now, as of this date, September 28th, 2004, 40% of Americans still believe that Saddam Hussein had something to do with 9/11.
Well, he watched it on TV.
40%. Okay? So look to your left. Look to your right. I guarantee you there's some ass trolls in both directions. Okay?
Josh.
Well, like I said, I didn't say look straight ahead. That's a different category. He's under a lot of stress. He had to work with Dave Van Boring all day, try to butch him up a little bit. An impossible task. Although I will say this, at least Dave Van Boring's got a good voice. He's not kind of like a duller like poor Joe Zagacki. Joe's such a good guy, and I don't hate picking on him because he's horrible. He's just awful. And those promos, wouldn't we be better off not to play the promos, just to say, hey, we got Kane Sports here, and you don't want to hear it, but it's Joe Zagacki. And that's by their own choice, by the way. They had a chance to get Bill Zimfer to do Hurricane Football. Remember that? No, we want one person doing all of our sports, even though he's like a dullard and a thickhead and got a personality like a dead man. But nevertheless, it's so sad. Anyway, here's the deal. How many are we going to get to 1,000 or what? 503? 503. We need to get, I would say, to about 575 by the top of the hour. I don't think that's going to happen. I mean, we need a tremendous number of votes on here. We need everybody who's got a computer. Go into like somebody's office and use their computer, or just go into a store and steal one. I don't know why. I just got a bug up my ass today. Of course, that started before the show with our technical incompetence and with, of course, the fact that Beasleys can't pay people on time. It's just, at least they're consistent. Just the minor problems like that. It's only like going to be 4 days late. Hey, listen, no problem over there on the West Coast. I'm loaded. I got plenty of cash. You just relax over there, okay? You morons. Yeah, they probably got to pay for the shrink for Joyce. Wouldn't you think?
The shrink fit?
513 votes. The election is 5 weeks from today. We're talking about the presidential election, you idiots out there, you dummies, you quislings. Which applies to you? I'm voting rock solid for Kerry, 357.
Rock solid.
69.5%. He dropped under 70 there. That's not a good sign. I'm voting rock solid for Bush, 61.
Rock solid.
Between the ears, 11.8%. I'm not eligible to vote 19. I'm leaning to Kerry, 19. I'm leaning to Bush, 16. I'll vote for Nader, 15, 2.9%. See, it went down a little bit after we told them that if they vote for Nader, they will be shot. Yeah. I don't give a Schmidt, 14. I'm not voting 12. Only 2.3% of this astute audience ain't voting. We still have some of those T-shirts to give away?
As far as I know.
Look for the QAM van right now at Tintech Plus, 137th Avenue and Crowell Way in Miami. Stop by to win T-shirts. You might have to spin the deal. And register to win a pair of tickets to Sunday's Dolphins and Jets game. Oh, man. WQAM, hello. Not there. QAM, hello. Not there either. Now, listen, I'm giving you a window of opportunity here for you to hop through it. WQAM, hello.
Hey.
Yes, sir.
How you doing?
All right.
Good. Listen, if it's as slanted as we think it is, I don't really think you should be paying too much attention to these polls.
Yeah.
Because they
I'm just passing them along. I'm not paying attention to the Gallup one anymore because we know how slanted that thing is.
But any of them, I mean, I think there's a great underswell of people that are simply going to vote against Bush that they're not even counting on.
Well, that would be swell.
Also,
hopefully it's the over, not the under.
Also, you sound...
We need an overswell.
You know,
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
You sound just like my dad.
Yeah, I am.
That's why it's always a little uncomfortable to call you.
Right. I understand.
My favorite Broke O'Brien bit, I didn't get in on that last week.
What is it?
The original morning show bit with Defo and Goldie and Ron Hersey.
Well, what is that called?
Well, we have a bunch of those.
But that original one of the morning show bit was simply hilarious. Also, the other one would be the...
Talking about Morning Sickness Crew.
Yeah, the Morning Sickness Crew.
I'm going to play that. I think we can get it in.
Oh, that would be great. All right, guys, take it easy.
He's just laughing.
He set off my thing there. Now, how is that possible? We may be replacing the wrong piece of equipment because I don't think that happened. Huh?
I mean, because I don't know what's going on up there, and that makes all of us.
Oh, no.
But see, he goes through your microphone, you see.
Oh, I see. Is that what it was? Yeah, you're right. No, it is only the mic, because we've tried that experiment. In fact, you see, and you didn't remind me just now when that happened. I should have let it go.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Bypass. You idiot, you. Man, you are so... What is wrong with you?
I don't know. Same thing that's wrong with you.
Look who you work for, I know. It's 11:56 at 560 WQAM. Don't forget NeilRogers.com. Get everybody you know to get on there and vote. Okay, we want 80 million votes by 2 o'clock, so then we can say, hey, look at this. We got a whole bunch of votes. And then it'll be the same piece of crap that it was before we started this morning. It's just not going to get any better, you know? You just, in life, here's a good piece of philosophy for you. Do the best you can. That's all. Don't get all whipped up into a frenzy. Don't get yourself like, it doesn't help. It doesn't make things any better. I mean, like when my father died, I was very pleased about that. Anyway, it's 4 minutes till noon at 560. That did make things a lot better mentally. I don't know what it is, And then, of course, Mom. Hey, if you're planning on replacing your carpeting because they look old and filthy, or if maybe you're thinking about having carpet, area rugs, drapery, all of these things professionally cleaned, do yourself a big favor. Do what I've been doing for over 20 years, call my good, close personal friends at Draw Concepts, because they're the best in the world. Why would you even think about doing business with anybody else? Dry Concepts is the best at bringing those carpets back to life, even if they look like they're out of life, like they're dead, like you have to spend a lot of money to replace them. Forget about it. Because Dry Concepts will sanitize your home today using their certified trained technicians who dry clean your carpets, which sucks out even the deepest down dirt and the fibers of your carpet, leaving them looking and smelling just like brand new. They smell lemony fresh, they're dry in a couple of hours, and it looks like you had brand new, like I said, laid right on your floor. And no rip-offs, no games. They don't play the BS of per-room scams like most of the other carpet cleaning companies. They give you a written, guaranteed price up front before they start the job, and that's what you pay. Believe you me, when they get done, you'll look on your floor and you'll be shaking your head in amazement because they do such a fantastic job. Call them toll-free. You'd never use anybody else again. Once you use these people the first time, like I've been doing for over 20 years, call 1-800-248-5071. That's 1-800-248-5071, or on the wicked web at dryconcepts.com.
The Howard Stern Show. Neil Rogers, mornings and midday. And sports around the clock. 560 WQAM.
You call me Mr. Moose, and I'll be visiting to the dwell of 1 hour.
All right, looks like Neil's been at some of that diet food again. Heard anything further on that, Carolyn? Welcome back to the Morning Sickness Crew. We sure only talk about sports at a rapid pace.
Now, hold on, Debo. No forced laughter here.
Hey, you think that's good? When I was at the track last night, a horse I bet on was so slow, the jockey kept a diary. What was that, Carolyn, about the girl that was raped in the Hurricanes locker room? Oh, yeah. And thanks for making the studio smell better, Toots. Okay, we got Latrine Comics on the line. Hiya, Latrine.
What you doing, man? Hey, you made that man say, well, ain't nobody knocking down nobody door for trash in the 380 mark, or whether Lamar Smith.
Hey.
Well, let me tell you, Latrine people ain't having no shit again. The Dolphins will get out of their mind if we sign both of them.
What did he say?
Yeah, listen to what I tell you. Two prominent quarterbacks, that's why they signed Ray Luke and Cam McNabb. Cam McNabb is our future. Give a guy a chance. Ray Luke gonna come in next year. Ain't nobody gonna knock down. He don't give him no lot of cash either. He gonna take the next contract we give him. He gotta take what he can. Lucky for the defense. A lot of games we lost. He put it in a situation. A lot of games he won. He lost more than he won.
Thank you for your call. Okay, it's time for another funny interactive comedy bit. Where I interview Goldie Hawn. So, Goldie. Yeah? Not you, Goldie. So, Goldie, what's your take on college athletes who aspire to play Schmear the Queer?
I think there's a responsibility.
Hey,
in that.
you got something against playing there.
How you raise your children.
I take umbrage to what you said about crab soccer. Sounds like a real ice queen if you ask me.
Yeah, like your wife.
Well, let's not get into that. Oh, look, we got the guy with the eyes for the third time today. Hiya, Kenny.
Go Gators.
Thank you for your call. Ain't this more fun than cutting your balls off with a serrated scissor?
Oh, yeah!
All right,
1202, thanks for reminding us. We haven't played that in the Coons Age, you know what?
Yeah.
It's outstanding. Let's get, what's his name back? Let's get old Ron Hershey Highway back. What do you say?
To do what?
What he was doing there. 582 votes, and so far, rock solid for Kerry 411, 70.6%. Rock solid for Bush 69. Oh, yeah, 11.8%. Leaning to Kerry 24, not eligible to vote 19. Leaning to Bush 17. I'll vote for Nader 16, 2.7%. See how we drummed that down?
Mm-hmm.
I don't give a Schmidt 14, and I'm not voting 12 because I'm just too stupid. I don't care. What's the use? I'm lazy. I'm a piece of crap. We love old Bobby Wexler, though. Good news. Federal Appeals Court yesterday revived a lawsuit seeking a full paper trail for Florida's new touchscreen voting machines with only 5 weeks before the election. The court told the lower court judge to reopen the case affecting the 15 Florida counties that use voting machines that don't create paper copies. 3 judges from the 11th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals wrote that the federal judge improperly decided not to get involved in the lawsuit filed by U.S. Representative Bobby Wexler, South Florida congressman. Oh, I guess who was on TV this morning?
Who was on TV this morning?
Yesterday was Miss Mark Foley. This morning they had Miss Charlie Crist on there. You know, talking about the hurricane and all that stuff.
I see.
Anyway, we vacate that decision and remand for a consideration of the merits. The unsigned ruling reads, a state appeals court ruled last month that a paper trail of ballots was not required, ruling that voters are not guaranteed a perfect voting system. Right. In other words, well, if it's fairly close, that's good enough. Wexler had argued that the paperless voting system makes manual recounts impossible. He sued state elections officials, arguing that constitutional promises of equal protection would be violated by a voting system that varies from county to county in Florida. This is a huge win. Huge. Wexler spokeswoman Lael Mama said from his Washington office. Lael, what kind of a name is that? Probably went to Yale with that dummy. Nice going there, Bobby Wexler. You're the best, man. He's good. Let's put him in there. What do you say?
Okay.
Yeah, I say okay, too. Bobby Wexler for president, baby.
Oh!
5670560, pound 560 on the Verizon Cellular wireless lines. We'll include a few of your calls today because they have been good. You got to admit that.
So far.
WQAM, hello.
Good morning, Neil. This is, I'd like to speak to my little gay buddy George, if I may.
Okay, great. WQAM, hello.
How you doing, Neil?
Okay, sir.
Yesterday I was trying to get in because you were talking about Senator Brownback and you referred to him as a lunatic. And I was wondering if you were going to refer to Kerry as one, too, since he voted for it. So if one's a lunatic, the other one should be as well.
Yeah, they're all a bunch of lunatics, man, so join the club, okay? 5670560. Haven't I said that Kerry didn't have the balls? Didn't I talk about that at length yesterday? Yeah. And not Edwards, and not Kennedy, and all these spineless cowards who are afraid to be seen as voting for indecency? Didn't I say that? Yes. But that ain't good enough for you, lunatic. If there's one thing I can't stand is people that start with a name calling, you asswipe. WQAM, hello.
Hey, Neil.
I would love to see that in the debate Thursday. Have Kerry call a Bush an asswipe. Yes, sir.
Is there gas in the car?
WQAM, hello. Oh, that's your buddy again. That's,
Which one?
Hiya, Pally. That's him.
Oh, yeah.
He's got a new line, though, today. That's good. WQAM, hello.
How's it going?
Pretty good. Figures he's a Steely Dan fan. Yes, sir. Speak
Got
to
a
me.
BSO Cooper City pig report for you.
Yeah?
Group of rules just east of Flamingo. 3 troopers that pulled them over like hotcakes on sausage, or whatever
Thanks
you
for the
call
good
it.
news, Pally.
Can't stand them. BSO, I hope you get cancer from that radar gun, you bastard.
I told you the calls were sensational today, didn't I?
Indeed.
Oh, wait till you hear this. That good old-time religion, baby.
Oy.
It's that brotherly love. Jerusalem. A Greek Orthodox and Franciscan priest got into a fist fight yesterday at the Church of the Holy Sepulchre.
Careful.
The Holy Sepulchre, Christianity's holiest shrine, after arguing over whether a door at the basilica should be closed during a procession. They got into a fist fight, which is probably about the butchest thing either one of them will ever do. Oh, dozens of people, including several Israeli police officers, were slightly hurt in the brawl at the shrine, built over the spot where tradition says Jesus was crucified and buried. 4 priests were detained, police spokesman Shmulek Ben Ruby said. Oh, what a great name, Shmulek. Custody of the church and the Holy Sepulchre is shared by several denominations that jealously guard territory and responsibility under a fragile deal hammered out over the last centuries. Any perceived encroachment on one group's turf can lead to vicious feuds, sometimes lasting hundreds of years. Monday's fight broke out during a procession of hundreds of Greek Orthodox worshippers commemorating the 4th century pilgrimage by Helena, mother of Emperor Constantine, to Jerusalem. Tradition says that during the trip, Helena found the cross on which Jesus had been crucified, and then she moved to Montana. Church officials speaking on condition of anonymity said that at one point the procession passed a Roman Catholic chapel, and priests from both sides started arguing over whether the door to the chapel should be open or closed. Club-wielding Israeli riot police broke up the fight, witnesses said. Afterward, the procession continued. Club-wielding Israeli riot police. They are a riot, you know it?
A laugh riot.
Greek Orthodox priests dressed in black robes and donning elaborate headdresses, that headgear again, marched out of the church's bells rang loudly, carrying gold staves and roses. What is a stave?
Staff.
S-T-A-V-E?
Plural for staff. Staves.
Carrying stuff and roses, they marched through the church courtyard. And is that now? What's the new Jews? How do you say it? The Madonna Jews?
Oh, the Kabbalists.
Kabbalah, whatever that is. I wonder if they carry staves. They marched through the church courtyard and down a narrow stone alley as Greek Orthodox Christians clapped and cheered. All right, you go, boys. All right. In 2003, Israeli police threatened to limit the number of worshippers allowed to attend an Easter ceremony if the denominations did not agree on who would lead the ceremony. Police brokered a last-minute deal and the ceremony passed peacefully. And by the way, for the punk that called before about Sam Brownback, you're too young to join the full SS, okay? You'll have to join the Hitler Youth. But a year earlier, the Greek patriarch and Armenian clergyman designated to enter the tomb exchange. Oh, I better read those paragraphs again. It's too important.
Carefully.
In 2003, Israeli police threatened to limit the number of worshippers allowed to attend the Easter ceremony if the denominations didn't agree on who would lead the ceremony. Police brokered a last-minute deal and the ceremony passed peacefully, but a year earlier, the Greek patriarch and Armenian clergyman designated to enter the tomb exchanged blows after a dispute over who would be the first to exit the chamber. Oh, my God almighty. Oh, Jesus.
What's it about?
Good old-time religion, baby. Hate and intolerance, and murder and bloodshed. Stuff like that, all these things.
All of these things.
Like I said. Oh, and here's another good priest story. I'm sure you saw this. A district attorney said yesterday that he would not prosecute a Roman Catholic Bishop Thomas Dupre on child rape charges because the statute of limitations had expired in the case. Unfortunately for us, the bishop hasn't expired yet, hopefully soon. In an indictment unsealed yesterday, Dupre was charged with molesting 2 boys in the 1970s, becoming the first Roman Catholic bishop to face criminal charges in the sex abuse scandal that has rocked the American church.
Rocked?
Yeah. However, the grand jury returned indictments only related directly to child abuse, not to other possible charges such as witness tampering and obstruction of justice. Without those indictments, Hampton District Attorney William Bennett said he was precluded from pursuing the case because the statute of limitations in force at the time of the alleged crimes was limited to 6 years. Even with probable cause, there was a strong possibility that prosecution of such allegations could be barred by the statute of limitations, Bennett said in a news conference hours after the indictment was unsealed. Dupre said he cited health reasons when he resigned in February after 9 years as head of the Springfield Diocese, but his departure came one day after the Republican newspaper of Springfield, that's the name of the paper, confronted him with allegations he abused 2 boys while he was a parish priest. So it was just a coincidence that his ill health that he resigned the next day.
That's right.
The indictment was handed up by a grand jury Friday, unsealed yesterday morning. Bennett said the grand jury was convened to investigate all aspects of the allegations against Dupre, including whether he tried to cover the abuse up or whether he had abused any other children. When Bennett announced in the spring that he would present the case to a grand jury, he initially conceded it could be difficult to charge Dupre with abuse because of the statute of limitations, but the prosecutor later said that Dupre could be charged because of his more recent attempts to conceal the alleged crimes. In fact, if that's the case, why don't they put the Pope in jail, huh? Talk about a gigantic cover-up. Man. Even that bald spot he's been trying to cover up all these. Even Mo never tried to cover up his bag. Papa with that big schmata that he wears on his head. What do you call that thing? That big crown?
The pointy hat?
Yeah, that pointy thing.
The mitre?
The Pope is wearing a pointy thing, man. See, now back in the day I had a line for that, but I better not use it. Yeah. What do you do with the pointy thing? Well, 12 minutes after 11 at noon at 560 WQAM. How are we doing on our road to 1,000 there? We going to make it?
We'll make it.
Or else. 624. We're going to have to get, I would say, to about 8:50 by the end of this hour, because the 1 to 2 hours a week, they're all listening to Rush by then. They're all popping pills by 1 o'clock. So we got to make it to like 8:50 by 1 o'clock. Or else. Right now, Armstrong Ford Homestead wants to clear, while I'm clearing my throat, they want to clear their lots and sell off all remaining 04s. Here are just some of the great deals waiting on you as I speak. An 04 F-150 pickup, you pay just $1 over invoice. New 04 Explorers, you pay just $1 over invoice. Rangers, Crown Vics, Tauruses, and Focuses, all waiting for you at just $1 over invoice only at Armstrong Ford Homestead. Plus, Armstrong Ford offers more value to its loyal customers. When you buy your Ford from Armstrong, you'll get their exclusive Tires and Batteries for Life program. Nobody nowhere does that. That's right, Tires and Batteries for Life. The value you get at Armstrong Ford doesn't stop there, because right now you'll get a free Florida Sun Pass with any vehicle you buy. If you're pressed for time, all you have to do is pick up that phone, and you can shop right over the phone to Armstrong Ford. Just call them at 305-247-5112. That's 305-247-5112. They'll even deliver that new vehicle right to you wherever you're hanging out. Armstrong Ford Homestead, great folks to do business with. They're locally owned and operated. They'll treat you just like family. And I'll bet you Clarence's life on it, you won't get a better deal on a Ford anywhere in town. No bait and switch, no phony deals, just the best deals going anywhere. Armstrong Ford Homestead, they're located at 30725 South Dixie Highway, 20 minutes south of the 836. Check them on the web at armstrongcars.com. Drive a little and save thousands on your new Ford only at Armstrong Ford of Homestead.
You're listening to Neil Rogers exclusively on 560 QAM.
This is Jim. Love your show, Neil. Love you. Love you.
President Bush expanded health care for children and cut taxes to stimulate the economy. I don't like that. If I am elected president, this will be an America that invites inflation and recession, and I have a plan to do so. George Bush has no plan. I will move America in a new direction. that will erode any recovery and threaten the prospect of lasting prosperity in our nation. In the blink of an eye, millions of families struggling to pay higher health care costs, higher college tuitions, trillions in deficits over the next decade. If I am president, that is the new direction that I will set for our budget and for our economy. Thank you very, very much.
Okay, see you, Herman. Calm down. King of Jordan says Iraq is unsafe for the elections. Well, what the hell would he know about elections and about democracy, right?
Yeah.
Although I think he's got a good point. Jordan's King Abdullah says only extremists will gain if Iraqi elections go ahead as planned in January. How do you like that?
Oh, my God.
In a text distributed in advance of an interview with the French daily newspaper Le Figaro, the king said it appears to be impossible to organize indisputable elections in the chaos currently reigning in Iraq. And, of course, anybody with a brain knows that he is
absolutely correct, sir.
The king also expressed concern that partial elections, which excluded cities such as Fallujah, could isolate Sunni Muslims, saying that could create even deeper divisions in the country and more confusion about who's got the best headgear. Abdullah, who's due to meet French President Jacques Chirac in Paris today, has been a strong Middle East ally of the U.S. in its war on terror. Both U.S. and Iraqi leaders have said polls will go ahead, but last week U.S. Defense Secretary Donald Herman Goering Rumsfeld raised the possibility that elections could be excluded from dangerous parts of the country. In a bid to crack down on these dangerous areas, Secretary of State Roland Colin Powell has said the American military will move into insurgent-heavy no-go zones in Iraq to clear the way for legitimate elections. Abdullah has also urged Iraqi authorities to reconstitute elements of the old Iraqi army to help train security forces as insurgent attacks rack the nation. Last Sunday it was Face the Nation. Next Sunday it's going to be Iraq. Or is that Iraq the Nation? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
They're racking it. Oh, look at this fax. Boy, I sure hope this is good. What is this?
The next page is better. But that
what,
page
with the electoral votes?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, but why is this? Is this like a prediction?
It's an explanation of the following page.
I see. 4 years ago on Election Day, I sent you an Excel spreadsheet like the one attached listing the states where the electoral votes would go. I had Gore winning 273 to 265 with Gore winning Florida. Actually, Gore did better than I thought because he wound up with 267 without Florida. Yes, I know he really blah, blah, blah. About that 2000 Election Day show, Neil, every Neil Rogers show is great, but if I had to rate all your shows for all time, I'd vote for 2000 Election Day show, number 1, and the following day, number 2. How do you like that? They were great, especially day 2, beginning number when you played in Florida. Are they talking about Die in Florida?
I'm sure that's what they're talking about.
Oh. Die, I haven't played it. I probably haven't played it since then. Although, of course, any day is always a good day to die in Florida. What the hell is it? Still sounding as good as ever, too, huh? Which is perfect for the QM equipment. Like it's coming through a screen. Oh, man. About an 80th generation dub.
I'm dying over here.
Absolutely.
I wanna spend my life loving you. Live right, work hard, read a good book too.
Absolutely, positively great stuff, says Fred C., the faxer. But what was really fascinating was a little old lady who called you in real time, I think, before noon, telling you she voted mistakenly for Buchanan. I remember that like it was yesterday. Remember that? Yes. Right. From Palm Beach. You joked around with her at first. We had lots of fun with the call, but later in the day you started realizing something was terribly wrong. You were going,
oi!
A lot. We were listening in real time to the horror that would follow that night. I would love to listen to those two shows again. No chance. Anyway, Neil, if I may be so presumptuous, starting today I will send you an electoral college prediction every Tuesday right up to Election Day. Wow! I've listed the states a little differently this time. Some states on top. What is it? Oh, sure states on top, heavily leaning states next, then toss-up states last. I'll make my predictions as of every Tuesday. I don't have a winner yet because I have 5 states that are too close to call. This is Fred C. Who needs Gallup? Who needs CNN? Who needs ABC? Who needs the Washington Post? Who needs John Zogby? Who needs all of these going, right?
Right.
And Arabs.
Fred C.
Of course, you may or may not agree with my predictions, so make your adjustments accordingly. Once again, Neil, I think whoever wins Florida will win the election. Unfortunately, this looks bad for Kerry. They stole it last time. Jeb will probably steal it again.
Absolutely.
It's the same answer as 2000. Whoever wins 2 out of 3 among Pennsylvania, Ohio, and Florida will win the election. Democrats still might surprise with turnout on Election Day. From what I'm hearing, the Dems are kicking ass in voter registration in the swing states. Kerry must win the debates convincingly and uphold his reputation as a strong closer and unmatched Fred Gwynn lookalike. Right?
Right.
Well, let's see. He's got Bush. I mean, this is too ponderous for me to go down this whole list here.
Just
Who's he got in West? Well, no, let me just see who he's got winning West Virginia. Bush. Well, he's right about that. He's ahead, heavily, yeah. Who's he got in Missouri? Bush, that's correct. What about Wisconsin? Where has he got Wisconsin going over here? Let's see. He's got too close to call. Well, right now, Bush has got a fairly healthy lead in Wisconsin, which is shocking, huh? So I think there's a little wishful thinking involved here, Fred. See, this is a nice job, and if I really wanted to put the audience into a total coma, I'd read the whole thing with no disrespect to you, but I mean, it's good work on your part.
Only the bottom line, the grand total is important.
The grand total, he's got 249 for Bush, 233 for Kerry, with 56 too close to call, et cetera, and so on. What is it, 270 you need? Is that 269? Something like that.
Right.
So there you go. Fred C. is hard at work. He's working at it and on it. Schwarzenegger bans smoking in prisons. I don't want to say he's a hypocrite because you don't be picking on the Terminator. I think somebody is owed an apology for this.
I apologize.
A little bit louder, please.
I apologize.
That's better. California Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger, who set up a tent outside his smoke-free state office to accommodate his taste for a good cigar, signed a bill Monday barring tobacco from state prisons. The measure amends the state's penal code. Can I say that, Joyce? It amends the state's code to bar tobacco products from prisons and youth correctional facilities. Violators are subject to a fine.
Oh, we're fine.
Supporters say the changes will help save the state money on health care and improve the health of the 160,000 state inmates. Some parts of California's criminal justice system, such as county jails, have already banned smoking. I thought that was the big thing in jail, was that everybody's passing faggots around. Well,
right.
The state generated about $1 million in tobacco taxes and $370,000 in sales taxes by selling tobacco products to inmates last year. Bill sponsor Tim Leslie, a Republican assemblyman, estimates that about half of California prisoners smoke, costing $280 million in related health care costs. Well, if they want to smoke, let them rot. Let their lungs rot out right on the flow.
Right.
Just sweep them away. Right?
Sure.
But the governor sets up a tent outside his smoke-free state office, which is by law, of course, the smoke-free, and to accommodate his taste for a good cigar. So he's puffing away on a big one there. That's okay. But these poor bastards who are rotting away in jail somewhere because maybe they looked at somebody cross-eyed or maybe they voted for Al Gore. I mean, let's get serious, okay? Arnold, you jackass, you ass-troll, you. Paul Krugman writes in the Times today, swagger versus substance. He's good. He's one of my very favorites. He makes a lot of sense. Let's face it, whatever happens in Thursday's debate, cable news will proclaim President Bush the winner. This will reflect the political bias so evident during the party conventions. It will also reflect the undoubted fact that Mr. Bush does a pretty good Clint Eastwood imitation. But what will the print media do? Let's hope they don't do what they did 4 years ago. Interviews with focus groups just after the first 2000 debates showed Al Gore with a slight edge. Post-debate analyzation should have widened that edge. After all, during the debate, Mr. Bush told one whopper after another about his budget plans, about his prescription drug proposal, and more. The fact-checking in the next day's paper should have been devastating. But as Adam Clymer pointed out yesterday on the op-ed page of the Times, front-page coverage of the 2000 debates emphasized not what the candidates said, but their body language. After the debate, the lead stories said a lot about Mr. Gore's size, but nothing about Mr. Bush's lies. And even the fact-checking pieces buried inside the newspaper were, as Mr. Clymer delicately puts it, constrained by an effort to balance one candidate's big mistakes, that's Mr. Bush's lies, against the other's minor errors. The result of this emphasis on the candidates' acting skills rather than their substance was that after a few days, Mr. Bush's defeat in the debate had been spun into a victory. This time, the first debate will be all about foreign policy, an area where Mr. Bush ought to be extremely vulnerable. After all, his grandiose promises to rid the world of evildoers have all come to naught. Exhibit A, of course, is Osama bin Laden, whom Mr. Bush promised to get dead or alive, then dropped from his speeches after a botched operation at Tora Bora let him get away. And it's not just bin Laden. Most analysts believe that Al-Qaeda, which might have been crushed if Mr. Bush hadn't diverted resources and attention to the war in Iraq, is as dangerous as ever. There's also North Korea, which Mr. Bush declared part of the axis of evil, then ignored when its regime started building nuclear weapons. Recently, when a reporter asked Mr. Bush about reports that North Korea has a half a dozen bombs, he simply shrugged. Most important, of course, is Iraq, an unnecessary war which, after initial boast of victory, has turned into an even worse disaster than the war's opponents expected. The Kerry campaign is making hay over Mr. Bush's famous flight suit stunt, but for me, Mr. Bush's worst moment came 2 months later when he declared, "There are some who feel like the conditions are such that they can attack us there. My answer is, bring them on." When they really did come on, he blinked. U.S. forces, obviously under instruction to hold down casualties at least till the election, have ceded much of Iraq to the insurgents. During the debate, Mr. Bush will try to cover for this dismal record with swagger and with attacks on his opponent. Will the press play Karl Rove's game, as by Mr. Clymer puts it, confusing political coverage with drama criticism, or will it do its job and check the candidate's facts? There have been some encouraging signs lately. There was a disturbing interlude in which many news organizations seemed to accept false claims that Iraq had calmed down after the transfer of sovereignty, but now as the violence escalates, they seem willing to ask hard questions about Mr. Bush's fantasy version of the situation in Iraq. For example, a recent Reuters analysis pointed out that independent sources contradict his assertions about everything from police training and reconstruction to preparations for January elections. Mr. Bush is also getting less of a free ride than he used to when he smears his opponent. Last week, after Mr. Bush declared that Mr. Kerry would prefer the dictatorship of Saddam Hussein to the situation in Iraq today, the AP pointed out that this twisted his rival's words and then quoted what John Kerry really said. Nonetheless, on Thursday night, there will be a temptation to revert to drama criticism, to emphasize how the candidates looked and acted, and push analysis of what they said and whether it was true to the inside pages. With so much at stake, the public deserves better. Paul Fergman writes, but don't hold your breath, because the media sucks. 28 past noon at 560 WQAM. This is one of those times when you might need some help real fast. Thankfully, Dollar Mattress delivers same day all across South Florida. When you call 1-800-MATTRESS, you'll choose from the deepest and widest selection of bedding, all available for same-day delivery. Call them right now as you sit there on your fat ass. Call 1-800-MATTRESS now for factory direct prices and immediate delivery. And you still get to pick the date and time for delivery, any 2-hour window that's convenient for you. And guess what? They show up. Dollar Mattress has a 99% on-time delivery record. Dollar Mattress ranked number 1 in customer satisfaction. They were winners of the 2004 Better Business Bureau Local Torch of Excellence Award. When you call that number, you'll choose from the complete line of the top names in the universe. They got them all. Serta, Sealy, Simmons, King Coil, Tempur-Pedic, even Stearns and Foster Hewitt. The people with brains are doing the calling right now. Instead of wasting their time at betting in department stores, they're just making that one easy call. You ought to be doing the same. Log on to their website if you like at mattress.com and then make the call. It'll get them there in no time at all. Get you a great night's sleep for years to come. 1-800-MATTRESS, 1-800-MATTRESS.
You're listening to Neil Rogers on 560 WQAM.
I'm peeing in my pants waiting for that one. Before we do the thing, 2 Italian women aid workers held hostage in Iraq have been released.
Oh!
Achapikia and headed over to the Italian charge of the affair in Baghdad, Al Jazeera TV said today. The Arab News Network gave no further details. There was no immediate independent confirmation of their release. Charity workers Simona Pari and Simona Taretta, both age 29, no kin to Gino Toretta, were snatched from their Baghdad office September 7th and hadn't been heard from since. Sorry, Joey.
You God.
They were abducted, like I said.
Sorry, Joyce.
I read the evening news, I do, on CBS most every night. But now there's strife because of a report I read the other night. My name is Dan Rather. Somebody called me up and took my time. He said, I've got some dirt on Bush. And I said, fine. Imagine how it's gonna change some voters' minds. Because I'm Dan Rather. I don't think that George Bush is telling the truth about his life. When you watch me, I'll be providing the proof. He's telling lies. He and Bush and Bush and me. No matter if those documents are forgery. If one of us has gotta go, it won't be me. Because I'm Dan Rather, the CBS anchor. Yes, I am Dan Rather, the right wing sinner lather. Because I'm Dan Rather, just ignore all their blather. Because I'm Dan Rather.
Abu Ghraib.
George Bush, live a place you can land so that you can avoid Vietnam. Now you said you served active duty just fine. Might you be absent in your mind, George Bush? Your position's at stake, 'cause John Kerry is out to seal your fate. If those questions
WOLL. What a funny thing the military can't find. Where you were in that 1 year's time. You partied and you went AWOL. Your daddy helped you go AWOL. If you'd only come clean with a story that's real, you might earn back voter appeal.
Yeah, we know Kerry didn't bleed enough to get those medals, and who the hell are you people kidding anyway? I mean, how is it possible to be so ignorant, so freaking stupid, and the media just a willing co-conspirator? The most important thing was, not were those the original documents, but what was in them? Was it true? Was it true?
Irrelevant.
Is it true, Michael?
Irrelevant.
Yeah. But don't confuse the media with the facts, and certainly not the public, because most of them are like that. As everything comes unglued in Iraq and the economy and all these things. Everything. The environment, now we got global warming causing 8 zillion hurricanes. I mean, after the last 4 or 5 weeks, you'd think that the people of Florida finally would wake up and say, you know something, we can't afford to have an anti-science, a lunatic bunch of maniacs running this country and the world. But no. 54% approval rating. He's okay in our book. He's a wonderful guy. Goy. 726 in the votes. We're not going to make our 1,000 unless we really get that thing going. The election is 5 weeks away, which applies to you. We need 850 by 1 o'clock if we got a shot. You know what I'm saying? Even Jimmy Johnson thinks we ain't got a shot right now. I wonder what Jimmy Johnson's thinking about Dave Wannstedt. I wonder what Don Shula's thinking about the Wannstedt era, huh? Oh, man. See, because old coots like that, they revel when their successors fail big time. Just like I'm sure Shula loved the fact that after Jimmy set him up, you know, for getting canned, which is what really happened. After that whole deal and Jimmy flopped on his ass, I'm sure that Shula loved it. And now the same thing. Both of them are probably loving Wannstedt just being a real piece of turd. Don't forget to check our website out. There's a lovely new magazine there. Dave Wannstedt's on the front cover. The election is 5 weeks away. Which applies to you? That's our poll question on neilrogers.com. 734 votes. I'm voting rock solid for Kerry, 514.
Rock solid.
Rock solid for Bush, 83. That's 70 to 11.3%. I'm leaning to Kerry, 35. I'm leaning to Bush, 24. I'm not eligible to vote, 23. I don't give a Schmidt, 21. My ears are...
rock solid.
I'll vote for Nader, 20, 2.7%. 20 people want to get their legs blown off. And I'm not voting 14, 1.9%. In fact, I think what somebody ought to do is scratch Nader's name off all the ballots.
All right, scratch and sniff.
That's a good idea. All you old farts that are going to be in the polling place, just scratch his name off. And that's even on the machine, you just scratch it out. Oh, listen to this. We got Cat Stevens.
Yeah.
But the good news is Osama bin Laden and other senior al-Qaeda leaders are most likely still alive, hiding in Pakistan. The U.S. commander of 18,000 foreign troops hunting militants in Afghanistan said on Monday. Lieutenant General David Barno also told Reuters in an interview that al-Qaeda operatives were helping remnants of Afghanistan's ousted Taliban disrupt preparations for the country's first direct presidential vote October 9. In Afghanistan, we see relatively little evidence of senior al-Qaeda personality figures being here in Afghanistan because they can feel more protected by their foreign fighters in remote areas inside Pakistan, he said, in a heavily fortified U.S. military compound in Kabul, where our good friend, that dictator, our puppet, Musharraf, is running things. That's why they're working so... Remember a couple of months ago we had that story? It was during the early part of the summer about how the pressure, the heat was on the Pakistanis. They're going to have to find this one. And now all of a sudden we're getting little bits and pieces of, wow, they're closing in on Osama, getting ready for the October surprise. In The Hague, Pakistani President Pervert Musharraf told reporters he had no idea where bin Laden was, although interrogations of recent al-Qaeda captives and technological intelligence suggested the world's most wanted man was alive. I don't know where he is. I wish I knew, said Musharraf, a key ally in U.S. led war on terror. Barno praised Pakistan's effort to flush out foreign militants from remote tribal areas bordering Afghanistan and its crackdown on al-Qaeda-linked operatives in towns and cities. Pakistan has more than 70,000 troops in its tribal belt, and they all smell the same, it says here. How do you like that? What does that mean?
I have no idea.
5670560, pound 560. How's the QM van doing? They're probably long gone, right?
Haven't heard yet.
Well, what does that mean?
That means they're still there.
They're still there, just like Osama. The QM van is just like Osama. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if he's hiding out in the van.
That's messy enough back there. You can look for
it right now at Tintech Plus, located at 137th Ave and Coral Way in Miami. Stop by to win some nifty T-shirts and register to win a pair of tickets to Sunday's Dolphins Jets game, such as it'll be.
You're listening to Neil Rogers exclusively on 560.
Miami has the Dolphins, they're the worst football team. They flub the ball from goal to goal like no one's ever seen.
Hey, stupid!
They're on the ground, that's where they'll stay. They're never in control. And when you say Miami, you're talking toilet bowl, 'cause they're the Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins number. How many teams in the league?
About 30, man.
Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins. Don't bet on them, you'll always lose. They don't know how to tackle. They don't know how to block. Their coaches ought to tell them to put Bengay in their jocks. Then they would run much faster, and even in defeat. When we go to the stadium, we'll see Miami Heat, and they're the Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins number. How many teams in the league? 32. Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins. The team that hasn't got a clue. Miami has the Dolphins, but the Dolphins have no fans. Just 50,000 sitting in the stands. They watch the game and all they do is moan and gripe and bitch. I wonder how Joe Robbie got to be so damn rich. And they're the Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins number. How many teams in the league?
About 30, man.
Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins. I hear the crowd begin to boo. The Dolphins have Jay Fiedler. That quarterback's a Jew. Run down the field and he will throw a pass over you. He'll never win a Super Bowl. You shouldn't be surprised. When he gets cut, that doesn't mean that he was circumcised. And they're the Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins number. How many teams in the league?
82.
Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins. Jay calls his signals in Hebrew. The Dolphins have no defense and their offense is a joke. Like George Bush eating pretzels, you know they're gonna choke. They'll always disappoint you when they're in a playoff race, with fewer points than pockmarks on Huizinga's ugly face. And they're the Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins number. Oh, what the hell? 32. Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins, now they're through.
I'm dying over here.
Absolutely.
About 48 at 560 WQAM. Happy Tuesday to you in spite of all of this stuff, you know. We've had some tough times, right?
Still
we'll weather the storm, so to speak. We'll weather the storm, and we too shall survive, and all of the other cliches that make the world go round. Here's the facts that says I watched Howard Dean on Charlie Rose last night. Oh, I'm so sorry you watched Charlie Rose. I can't stand. I'd rather watch Pete Rose, and I'd rather be dead than watch Pete Rose. I'd rather see Pete Rose with that big stack of $100 bills on the table in front of him at Pompano Park, acting like a real jackass that he is. At any rate, no, I did not watch that Pete Rose thing on HBO. Did you watch that, Josh? I hope not.
No.
Good. Anyway, it says, damn you, Terry McAuliffe, on the weak-kneed DNC for not giving this guy an honest chance. And you know what? You are absolutely correct, Faxer, whoever sent this in. Dean was the man. That was the... See, we all thought along, well, you know,
right.
He's
convinced
that he was nuts, that he couldn't win, he had no chance. And the fact of the matter, he was the man.
We're going to South Carolina and Oklahoma and Arizona and North Dakota and New Mexico. And we're going to California and Texas and New York. And we're going to South Dakota and Oregon and Washington and Michigan. And then we're going to Washington, D.C. to take back the White House.
Yeah, he's the one that had the balls to say Tom Ridge was full of crap and it was all just a big scare tactic with that lady. Remember that? Yep. That Sunday morning with the latest yellow, pink, purple, green hysterical light? Yeah. He was the one that had the balls to say that this whole Iraq thing was wrong right from the very beginning. He was the one that pointed the finger at the whole smoke and mirrors deal. But no, we don't want no Howard Dean. At any rate, It says, last November, Dean was giving the Democratic Party back the spine they lost after conceding the 2000 election to the right-wing lunatics. Absolutely correct. By the time he got to... And for that punk that called before about Sam Brownback, no, I want to correct my answer, okay? Sam Brownback is a certified lunatic. John Kerry's not a lunatic, just a spineless coward. That's the difference. Anyway, by the time he got to Iowa, it was all over. Dean would be firing back at W relentlessly. Meanwhile, Kerry is asleep at the wheel. I have unpleasant memories of the 2000 debates when Gore rolled over and died instead of slamming this hole and sending him back to Crawford with his shoe up his ass. Says, Neil, God help us. Or is that like...
Oh, God.
Need some punctuation in there. Could you please play the Gore Abu Ghraib rant followed by his rendition of the Macarena? Haven't played that in a long time, you know what?
How dare they drag the good name of the United States of America through the mud of Saddam Hussein's torture prison?
Abu Ghraib. Yeah, that's the one he's screaming about. It says, it brings me back to a time when America had the potential to lead humanity into a better future. Nader is speaking at UN today. Could somebody from the cafeteria pick up a pie and smash it in his puss? That sounds like a winner to me.
Oh, please, give you $1.
Yeah, silly old coot. Hey, Ralph, get lost already. Will you get into your 65 Corvair and drive off straight due east would be good. I don't know if you mentioned this information, but if anyone around the Gables vicinity is interested, here it is. And it's a thing from MoveOn.org. Thursday at lunchtime, please join us in a unique and powerful demonstration, a symbolic unemployment line representing more than 1 million Americans who have lost their jobs in the past 4 years. First president since Herbert Hoover in his freaking depression to lose jobs, and we're talking over 1 million jobs. It just doesn't make any sense to me. The economy sucks. The Iraq situation is getting worse every day. We got over 1,000 kids in body bags. Everything is going to hell in a handbasket. Lies up the old yin-yang.
Right. Philosophy.
Oh, yeah, he's doing one hell of a job. He's the best. And it goes on here about the unemployment line. It says Thursday, September 30th at 12:05 to 12:45 p.m. Catch the shuttle buses at 11:45 a.m. outside the University of Miami, if you can find it, east side of US 1, starting at Stanford Drive and running past South Mariposa Court in the Gables and the unctuous Moral Gables. Transit, driver take Metro Rail to the South Miami or Douglas Road stations. University Station will be closed. You can park at the stations. Shuttle buses will leave the stations at 11:45 to bring participants to the unemployment line. America's lost 1.7 million jobs since Bush took office, leaving 8 million people unemployed. Miami suffers more than most, with unemployment 16% higher than the national average. In New York during the Republican convention, nearly 8,000 people stood in the unemployment line, making headlines nationwide. It's a potent symbol that will speak powerfully in Miami the day of the first presidential debate. Well, you go, boys and girls. You go. Do it. Show your puss. Of course, the big news of the day yesterday, forget about all this other stuff, stupid election stuff and about people dying and wars. The important stuff, as a matter of fact, little Tommy Jicka, who hasn't written, I'm going to tell you something, if there's anybody that makes me want to scream, just scream, it's him, little Tommy Jicka, that had the audacity of, well, will Neil be able to keep in touch with the local scene doing the show from Toronto most of, you know something, we do more in the first 30 seconds we talk more local than you've written in the last, I don't know how many years already. You little bald-headed geek, you wannabe, you Greg Reed suckhole. Man, that's all you are, Tommy, just a suck-up. Writes that thing about the Stern show. Well, give him credit for having the balls to put it. Yeah, right. You are such a lick. Man, oh man, I bet his tongue falls off. But when's the last time he wrote anything about local radio, TV, anything?
I don't know.
And usually in the past, when he was really doing his job, you know, after the hurricane, like after Andrew, he would write articles about the coverage and the various TV stations and different people and what they did. He didn't write anything about that. Nothing. He's just like strictly now the corporate network show reviewer and just bullcrap, man. Just a bunch of canned horse crap. And you're talking about me being out of touch, man? Talk about the pot calling the kettle bald and fat. Anyway, so he writes his whole column today, of course, about Conan to take over the Tonight Show by 2009. Man, oh man. Talk about much ado about less than nothing. NBC announced yesterday breathlessly that Conan O'Brien will take over from Jay Leno as host of the Tonight Show, but he'll have to write his jokes. He'll have time to write his jokes. The planned succession won't happen until 2009. The announcement solves a delicate problem for NBC, which realized O'Brien was getting antsy in his late-night time slot, 12:35 a.m. Eastern, wanted to keep him from jumping to another network. Leno planned to make the announcement on Monday's edition of Tonight. This is the Sun Sentinel, so it's already past their bedtime, no matter what time you got this. In 2009, I'll be 59 years old. We've had this dream job for 17 years, Leno said. When I signed my new contract, I felt the timing was right to plan for my successor, and there's no one more qualified than Conan. Plus, I promised Mavis, his grotesque wife, I would take her out to dinner before I turned 60. The notoriously workaholic and moderately talented Leno said about his wife. And I say moderately talented. What an understatement that is.
You're generous.
I wouldn't watch him if he paid me by the second, Jay Leno. Man, oh man. I guarantee you Steve Allen and Jack Parr are rolling over in their graves right now. Don't you think? In fact, maybe they're rolling over on each other. Now let's see, are we going to make that 1,000 today or what?
We'll make it.
What do we got? $795 plus tax. 795 votes. We need to get to 8. I'd said 850 by 1 o'clock to have a real legitimate shot. Now, what do we have going into this hour? I mean, you know, it's not important, but just it's something to strive for. Everybody's got to have a goal, right? Just like the Dolphins, I think this Sunday against the Jets, at least Orlando can kick a pair, right?
Right.
Yeah, 6 points instead of 3. I mean, you have to work with little baby steps before you have to crawl before you can walk. What?
Huh? Sorry.
You have to win slightly less embarrassing. Although my prediction for Sunday will be the Jets 31 and the Dolphins 6. Which I think I'm being pretty...
You're in a good mood today.
What? I'm being pretty damn generous giving them 6, man. Olinda Mare, he kicks... And I wonder who Mo's going to be rooting for in that game.
You're listening to Neil Rogers exclusively. WQAM.
Boy, it's the 1 to 2 hour.
How dare they drag the good name of the United States of America through the mud of Saddam Hussein's torture prison?
Al Gore, as you have never heard or seen him before.
4 years ago, you gave me your nomination to be vice president. This is some crowd. I've been watching you doing that Macarena on television. And if I could have your silence, I would like to demonstrate for you the Al Gore version of the Macarena. I am not trying to Macarena. Would you like to see it again? Tengo mucha conmoción. Tengo mucha emoción. When your alarm goes off in the morning, Macarena. When one of your children reaches for cereal and fruit, Macarena. 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 Oh!
102 at 560 WQAM. We got the Mad Dog at 2. The Humper is back in town on the air. Hank Goldberg at 4. Then we got Marlins on deck at 6:30, followed by a meaningless game. Marlins at the Expo at 7:05 tonight. I bet you there'll be a whole bunch of people at that game in Montreal.
About 30, man.
After the baseball game. Now here's a column you're going to love. Doug Thompson, who's the founder and publisher of Capitol Hill Blue, which is a fine website, by the way.
Oh, we're fine.
Writes, Iraq is the real issue of this election. It's taken far too long, but Campaign 2004 finally got around to issues in this century. A little over a month ago, George W. Bush and John F. Kerry still talk about their war records, but at least it's the current war over in Iraq, not what did or didn't happen in Vietnam over 3 decades ago. Like most Americans, I no longer give a damn what either of these men did 35 years ago. I'm more concerned about what they'll do over the next 4 years. That's what matters, and the central issue of this campaign should be that damn war in Iraq where more than 1,000 Americans have died, along with countless Iraqi civilians, and where God knows how many more will perish before we find a way out of the quagmire. Of course, as it happens too often when another country decides to impose its will on another, we just can't pack up the Humvees and leave. Iraq is a mess, politically, economically, socially, and otherwise. The sounds of car bombs and mortar attacks fill the air daily. An intel report that managed to find its way public before the Bush spinmeisters could sanitize it says the country is on the verge of all-out civil war. We promised the Iraqis freedom and gave them chaos. We promised Baghdad peace and turned it into Beirut. A year ago, the President of the United States flew onto an aircraft carrier and proclaimed mission accomplished. We now know that it was anything but. Bush's Secretary of State, the more principled Colin Powell, admits Iraq is a mess. Yes, it's getting worse, Powell said on ABC's This Morning with George Stephanopoulos this past Sunday. This, of course, sent the spinners at 1,600 pens scrambling, but they couldn't find a way to soften what Powell said. The man who knows a hell of a lot about war than either of the presidential contenders summed up the situation in 4 words. Yes, it's getting worse. We've been in these quagmires before, Vietnam, Korea, Bosnia, Lebanon, in every case without a decent exit strategy. While our leaders stumbled over each other trying to find a politically feasible way to get out, more Americans died just as they will in Iraq. But does either George W. Bush or John Kerry offer a way to get out of this mess without leaving Iraq worse off than it was when Bush decided to invade the country last year? Not really. Bush defends his actions against mounting evidence. His rationale for going to war was wrong, his strategy for winning the hearts and minds of Iraqis flawed, and his exit strategy non-existent. Kerry, who was a senator voted to let Bush wage the war, tries to play both sides of the fence, saying he voted to give the president the authority to go to war, but if he'd been president, he wouldn't have gone to war. A vague distinction that only adds to the public perception that he goes with whatever direction the political wind happens to blow. And while we spend billions on what would be a no-win scenario and more Americans come home in coffins, Osama bin Laden's terror network regroups and grows, secure in the knowledge that a nation preoccupied with an ill-conceived war in Iraq cannot deploy its limited resources to stopping madmen who flourish elsewhere. Osama's attack on this country on 9/11/2001 brought this country together in a united stand against a common enemy. For a while, our resolve made it tougher for another such attack to stun the nation. But George W. Bush's attack on Iraq 3 years ago later tore this country apart, left it divided, bitter and angry, and an easier target for those who want to destroy our way of life. John Kerry, along with too many other lemmings in Congress, voted to let him do it. We need a strong leader to put this country back together. Unfortunately, the presidential ballot we consider on November 2nd does not offer a strong leader as a choice. Boy, is that well said or what, huh?
Oh! Comment.
I beg your pardon?
Said, how you doing?
You don't think that's right on target? He's got his thumb right on it?
Yes, he does.
It is one hell of a pathetic... Oh, by the way, another shooting in Detroit. The daycare center. There's like 3 people have been shot. There's a bunch of stuff going on. Oh, look at this. The CNN producer's freed.
Palestinian President Yasser Arafat's Fatah movement. Now, we have spoken to representatives from Fatah who denied that any of their members were involved with this at all. And as you heard Riyadh say, Palestinian President Yasser Arafat was very much involved in trying to win Riyadh's release. Now, he also said he was interrogated by his abductors. They asked him about his background. Riyadh is a member of an Arabic-speaking minority, the Druze community, a non-Jewish community inside Israel. It's a community that is...
Yeah, good. CNN producer been freed and another crazy American bunch of shootings in Detroit. Just same old stuff, you know. 844 votes on that poll. 5670560, pound 560 on the Verizon Wireless and Singular Wireless line. Isn't that what I just said? Yes.
Something like that.
Actually, I might get in some calls this hour. Oh, I still have a pile. And don't let me forget at the end of the show, since you've done such a poor job of reminding me about that technical glitch every time they hit the bypass. I think that's what we need on this station is a bypass. Quadruple. That Diana column. We'll get back to you a little later on, Diana. WQAM, hello. QAM. Well, that one sounds dead. I told you, it sounds like Reverend Jones. Yeah. WQAM, hello.
5 more days to the Dolphins are eliminated from the playoffs.
Go back to New York, pal, with your sour attitude, but you're right. Hey, I got news for you. When the season started, they were eliminated from the playoffs. Boy, you talk about a smelly elimination. WQAM, hello. QAM.
Yeah, is this Neil?
Sounds like me.
Hey, Neil. I've been listening to your show on Howard for the last couple of weeks as he's been on the air. And all these years I've voted Republican. I'm actually thinking of going the other way.
Oh! And voting Democrat, too.
Yes, sir.
Excellent.
After doing a little research on the Internet and stuff, heck, I guess I was wrong last time, but my parents always raised me Republican. I guess it's time to piss them off.
Well, what the hell do they know, man? In fact, when they tell you one thing, you know they're full of crap. Vote early often, Pally.
So, you got one vote on your side.
All right, thanks.
Take care. Have a good day.
How do you like that? There's one. Just like the way we build a QM audience. As a matter of fact, the reason that Stern didn't show up in that trend at all was because that the sports was vanishing, like I told you, and nobody knew Stern was on the station. In fact, I guarantee you there's probably a significant percentage of the Howard Stern audience.
About 30, man.
I still don't know he's on this radio station. Hey, how about a little promotion there for this big deal, huh? How about like some billboards and some big splash on TV there, a big campaign, something like that for the hired hands that get treated so rudely and inconsiderately. See, one thing about this company, man, it doesn't make any difference what you do for them, how much money you make for them. They still, you never do enough for them. They still treat you with that jaw. You're still the enemy. You're just the old pain in the ass. Unless, of course, you're in that inner circle of butt lickers, which I guess Tom Zick is trying to get into. How is Gary Sarter doing, speaking of that?
I ain't seen him lately.
Yeah, he's quite a bright guy. WQAM, hello. QAM, hello. WQAM.
How you doing?
Okay.
This is the first time I've been able to listen to you in a few weeks because of these little hurricane bastard things. You heard about the Pharrell?
What about him?
About the switch to a Mexican radio station?
Yeah, we had that. That's ancient news. They switched.
I'm sorry.
What's he doing? Well, what's he doing now? You have an update?
I don't even know, man. I went to hear like a Yahoo thing where they like chat on there.
Yeah.
And I went on there and they say they do XM with Anthony and Opie or something.
Well, good luck to him, man. He needs it.
Yeah.
Good luck, Pharrell. You'll need it, baby. Yeah, he's done. He's all done. They switched format on him.
There's a guy who, he's amusing and entertaining in his own disgusting, agonizing, aggravating way, but the fact of the matter is he's got a death wish. Didn't we say that 80 zillion times? And the guy that was so fascinated with him at CityLink magazine, I'm pretty sure, wrote that big puff piece about him. In the article he said it's just a matter of time before he, blows up and it's all over. And, of course, a couple months later, bye-bye, he can't stop. Kind of like Mo in a different way, just can't stop. 5670560, pound 560 on the Verizon and Singular wireless lines. I think we're going to make our 1,000 this hour, you think?
I think so.
Let's take a peek at it. 860. Like I said, I don't think we're going to make it. You folks better get with it, get on that pole, and hop on it. WQAM, hello.
Neil, it's not a sports show. Why do we keep talking about the Dolphins?
What do you want to talk about, Putz?
Anything other than the
Yeah. Call the Bird, okay? That's the guy trying to do Bird Jr. there. Talk about anything. You sound like a real Putz. Get lost. WQAM, hello.
Hi, Neil.
Yes, sir.
Do you think we could have a conversation without you hanging?
No, can't. And by the way, I hope you die, Reverend Jones. WQAM, hello. QAM, hello.
Neil.
Yes, sir.
Hey, did anybody call you about that factoid over the weekend about Ohio? The new voter registration? They said for the GOPs in Ohio, the new voter registration was up 25%.
Yeah.
But for the Democrats, it was up 250%.
Right.
So,
how come all the polls show that Bush is ahead in Ohio, sir?
Well, because it's of likely voters. It's what I feel anyway. I don't have all the answers, but I think it's of likely voters. And this election you're going to see more first-time voters and slackers and all that, coming out because everybody's pretty well ticked off. I'm hoping anyway.
I think these polls are made up, man. I think that somebody is holding a gun to the pollsters' heads. These polls are bogus.
Well, all the big corporations want Bush, Viacom and Disney, all that, but
and don't forget Cheap Channel, man. Don't forget them. Axe murderers, grave robbers.
Hey, got to get people out to vote, man. Got to get them out. MoveOn.org, MoveOn PAC, whatever we can. Let's get Bush out. Bush must go.
When in doubt, get them out, baby. Okay, good luck to you. Start knocking on the doors right now, just like Xavier Suarez. Only not in your bathrobe at 3 in the morning is not a good idea. Kind of pisses people off a little bit. Phil Spector indicted in L.A. for actress murder. Do we really care about Phil Spector anymore?
I care about her.
Legendary Wall of Sound record producer Phil Spector was indicted yesterday on a charge that he murdered actress Lana Clarkson, who was found shot to death at his home 19 months ago. The dog did it, I told you.
Mm-hmm.
Police found the 40-year-old Clarkson, star of such B-movies as The Barbarian Queen and Amazon Women on the Moon, shot dead in the foyer of Spector's home on February 3rd, 2003. Spector, 53, who produced songs for the Beatles and for Ike and Tina Turner, has claimed that Clarkson killed herself by putting a gun in her mouth and firing it, but police said that an extensive investigation showed that he had shot her. An autopsy report found that the tall blonde actress had been killed by a single gunshot after the weapon was placed in her mouth. Spector, who was free on... I had a wonderful line for that, but Joyce wouldn't like it. I'm going to move right on.
Right.
Spector, who's free on $1 million bail, pleaded innocent of the charge during court appearance in L.A. Prosecutors said police found blood and gunshot residue on Spector, as well as evidence he had cleaned and moved the gun after the shooting. They say the reclusive music producer had a history of pointing guns at people. Spector claimed in the magazine interview that Clarkson killed herself. Yada, 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 and the beat goes on. And the Ronettes are still singing Be My Baby. I love that song. I can't find it anywhere.
It's around here somewhere.
Is it around there?
I don't know.
Oh, let's play it several times whenever we can find it.
All right.
In honor of Phil Spector in
Take a long time
Atlanta.
to find it.
113 at 560 WQAM. Guaranteed Mortgage Bankers are prepared to help you meet all your financing needs. If you're a first-time home buyer or if you're refinancing and taking cash out, they're definitely your best choice. Guaranteed Mortgage Bankers are committed to excellent customer service. This is not only their promise, it's a guarantee. So call them today at 1-800-734-6616. At Guaranteed Mortgage Bankers, their goal is to build a lifelong relationship with their customers. They did just that with a couple who just moved down recently from New Jersey, hadn't started their new jobs yet, but found a house they loved. The couple hadn't lived in South Florida for more than a week. They had little money to put down, wanted to close in 10 days, and guess what? Guaranteed Mortgage Brokers was able to secure the buyer's needs in order to close on time, and they were able to give them 95% financing at an unbelievable rate. That's a really unbelievable rate of just 5.95%. And listen to this, Guaranteed Mortgage Bankers sends all of its clients on a fabulous 7-night cruise. It's their way of saying thank you for choosing them and giving them your business. Guaranteed Mortgage Bankers, no loans, too big or too small, bad credit or good credit. They'll work with you to get you the loan you need. Guaranteed Mortgage Bankers, call them today, 1-800-734-6616. That's 1-800-734-6616.
You're listening to Neil Rogers, exclusively QAM.
Oh my God, your breasts are beautiful.
Well, congratulations. Get a life.
Your vote's automatically calculated by computers at the GOP. Manipulated this time. Don't let the fascist neocons screw us again. The brother governor that's running Florida, no doubt's got another plan to get your vote done. This time don't let the fascist neocons screw us again. Tom will let us in, the Swiss actors in, clean white faces, demanding to get in. Let us in, we don't live here. Let us in, clean white preppy men. Then goes triangle, Bush wins your the blue, and Coulter snuggles my loins with gonorrhea. Jews kill Christ. The Jews kill Christ. Bush is appointed by God. Back, why we can't see back. If you're darker than brown, then your vote will get thrown out. Back, except for hard votes, really closet bags. Well, it won't matter who or what you vote like. It's rigged for Bush too. Winning a landslide this time. Don't let the fascist neocons screw us again.
894 votes on our poll. Who are you going to vote for? It's 5 weeks from Election Day, and we're not going to make it to 1,000 unless we get another 106 between now and 2.
They can do it.
Huh?
They can do it.
No chance. We're going to have to, really step on it. Just like the kind of way I'd like to step on Maddie Bell and the water Nazi. Anyway, I'm voting rock solid for Kerry, 633, 70.8%. Almost 71% of this astute audience, they're going to do it. And you better get out there and do it several times, by the way, to make sure it gets counted at least once. I'm voting rock solid for Bush, 97, 10.8% to them. Okay, raspberries. I'm leaning to Kerry, 46. I'm not eligible to vote, 26. I'm leaning to Bush, 26. Did I get that right? I'm leaning to Kerry, 46. Not eligible, 26. Leaning to Bush, 26. Don't give a Schmidt, 25. I'll vote for Nader, 23. That's down to 2.5%. See, when you threaten them with death, all of a sudden they say, well, maybe it's not worth it. And I'm not voting 18, 2% out of 894. I'm sure by now they're gone from the QM van.
They should be, but we haven't heard anything.
We haven't heard? Well, I don't want to encourage these people to go schlep out there and then find out that they're not there. I think they just probably left. They're not calling you and giving you an update or an upchuck or anything like that?
No.
Well, what's that all about?
Don't know.
What kind of a horseball operation is this? Well, that's a rhetorical question. Anyway, here's a interesting thing. Susan Cooper Eastman of Citizens for Legitimate Government writes, Janet Link has been thinking about George W. Bush a lot lately. 32 years ago, her late husband, Jan Peter Link, served briefly in the Texas Air National Guard's 111th Fighter Interceptor Squadron. Bush's service in the same squadron has gotten plenty of mention in election year when what you did during the Vietnam War is suddenly a litmus test of character, but Link claims she knows part of the story that nobody's mentioned. According to Link, a Jacksonville resident and artist, Bush's flying career was permanently disabled by a crippled fear of flying. Link's husband was admitted to the Texas Guard in the summer 1972 to replace Bush. President Bush has said that he stopped flying fighter jets because the Alabama Guard unit didn't have jets, and he wanted to transfer to Alabama in order to work on a political campaign. But Link says she heard a different story from her husband and Bush's squad commander, the late Lieutenant Colonel Jerry Killian. Shortly after her husband joined the Texas unit, Link says the couple discussed Bush's service with Killian at a social event. Contrary to some news reports that suggest Killian admired Bush, Link says the officer didn't have much use for the young lieutenant. He mentioned that Bush appeared to have a drinking problem, she recalls, but he was most offended by another incapacity, his fear of flying. According to Link, Killian said Bush was grounded in his 4th year of flying and after he became incapable of flying or properly landing a plane. He was mucking up bad, Killian told us. Link says he just became afraid to fly. Killian has become a major figure in the Bush's unfolding guardgate with Dan Rather, yada, yada, yada. But flight logs released by the White House 3 weeks ago in response to a lawsuit by the AP show a strange retraction of Bush's airtime around that period. In February and March of 72, Bush switched from flying F-102A fighter jets, which the Guard used to patrol U.S. borders, to a 2-seat T-33 training jet. His superiors also returned him to flight simulator practice sessions. But records suggest the extra training sessions didn't help. Logs show that in March and April of 72, Bush twice needed multiple tries to land the F-102 fighter. Days later, on April 16, Bush piloted a plane for the Texas Air National Guard for the last time. He just couldn't cut it, says Link. I was led to believe he was kind of a coward. Folio Weekly was able to reach 2 former Bush squad mates in Texas, both of whom declined to be interviewed. In May of 72, Bush left Texas. He headed to Alabama, where he requested assignment with the Postal Reserve Unit. Bush's request was initially denied, but in August of 72, Killian stripped Bush of his flying duties for failing to take an annual physical. In September, he was ordered to take an administrative post with the Alabama Guard. Killian sent him to Alabama to fly desk, she recalls, and he never showed up. In Alabama, Bush's fellow guardsmen have said they don't remember ever seeing him. For Link, W's auxiliary service has become a very personal flashpoint. Link's husband died while serving in the Texas Guard in 73 after drinking at the Officers Club. He nodded off at the wheel, drove into a lake, and drowned. Link was 27 years old with a 3-year-old son. She said she didn't know much about who W was then. His family wasn't on the national radar. We were told his father was a very wealthy Texan with CIA connections. After Bush became president, to the swelling sounds of military music and war cries, Link found herself unable to shake her memory of Bush's abrupt departure from military. When she saw him swoop onto an aircraft carrier wearing a green flight suit, she thought about that 72 conversation with Killian. But it wasn't until after the Swiftboat Veterans for Truth ads questioning John Kerry's military service began airing in Jacksonville that she became incensed and decided to speak up. At least Kerry served, she says. Bush stepped aside. Anyone else who was AWOL like that would have been in Leavenworth, and here he is, President of the United States. Link, who voted for George Bush's dad, insists she's not anti-Bush or anti-Republican, but she's unhappy with W's presidency. After the passage of the Patriot Act, Link and a girlfriend made T-shirts that said, "One Nation Under Surveillance." And in early September, after seeing a Swiftboat ad, she went to the Duval County Democratic Party headquarters to pick up Kerry Edwards signs and chose to volunteer her story. Democratic Party officials contacted Folio Weekly the same day. Link spoke to Folio Weekly before the White House released Bush's flight logs, which appear to substantiate her story. Unlike his mom, Link's son Chris supports President Bush, but he doesn't doubt her version of events. If she says it happened, that's good enough for me, he says. He notes that flying fighter jets is a dangerous job, and not everyone's got the medal, so he doesn't doubt that Bush could have lost his nerve. But Chris Link's faith in the president remains unshaken. When he goes to the polls in November, he says, "I'll still be voting for him." Sieg Heil. How do you like that?
Yeah.
He hasn't lost his faith in this spineless coward, this chicken-hawk, who, along with his other buddies who never spent one day in the military, have no problem at all, no qualms whatsoever about sending out thousands and thousands of young people into battle to die in a meaningless war based on lies. But why should that affect anybody's opinion, right?
Right.
He's a great leader.
With the great economy.
He's a great, courageous leader who goes like that a lot. And every now and then lets out a cutie like
Abu Ghraib. The Howard Stern Show. Neil Rogers, mornings and middays. And sports around the clock. 560 WQAM.
Anytown at 560 WQAM.
The following is a paid public service announcement from the International Rifle Association.
Let's face it, most of us will never be rich. Hell, we probably won't even be successful, and that's pretty damn depressing. But, as usual, with every problem, there is a solution. Hi, I'm Jim, and I'm here to tell you a little something about handguns. They scare the shit out of people and intimidate them into giving you whatever you want. That's right, handguns. Think about it. Need some cash? Rob a bank. Don't have enough money for beer? Pull up a convenience store. Take some chips and pretzels while you're at it. It's all free if you've got a handgun. Some son of a bitch cheating on your girlfriend? Kill him. It's a simple solution to life's complex problems. All you have to do is wait the 5 days for it, and happiness is just around the corner. Hell, if you don't want to wait the 5 days, who cares? Buy the damn thing off the street. Just buy a lot of handguns. It's a great alternative to working problems out and can be considered a population control. Yes, handguns. They just might make you famous.
That's the American way.
Amen. So here's the latest. Detroit police searched today for a man who opened fire in a Detroit home daycare center, critically wounding 3 people, including a 3-year-old child. Police Chief Ella Bully Cummings. Is that a great name or what?
Great.
I wonder if Ella is kin to Wooly Bully.
Bully.
Ella Bully Cummings told reporters that the man was wearing a black jacket and black pants and was carrying a steel blue automatic gun. She said 2 women ages 41 and 22 were shot and were in critical condition in addition to the 3-year-old. A 7-month-old was also in critical condition, probably as a result of being dropped, the chief said. Oh, that's nice. A little collateral damage there. It appears as though this is not random, Bully Cummings said of the shooting. She said witnesses reported that the man came to the door, words were exchanged, then the man went inside shooting. There you go. Like I said, the American effing way. I'm not promoting that thing. If the band is still out there, that's their bad.
Yeah, news to us.
And speaking of bad, this is so stupid. Leave it to the Brits, who are always full of Schmidt. And the Americans, the same thing. Some king-size chocolate bars will be cut down to size in Britain next year as leading food manufacturers respond to growing pressure about portion distortion and rising levels of obesity. Portion distortion.
I like it. It rhymes.
I like that. The oversized snack, some weighing as much as 100 grams, 3.5 ounces, and containing 387 calories, will be cut into 2 shareable portions. Wow. What a concept. I hate to break the news to you, but Snickers already does that.
Yeah, well.
Right?
As if.
Oh, as if. Well, let me just finish this silly crap. The move follows fast food giant McDonald's decision to add salads to a traditional hamburger and fries menu and to provide pedometers in adult Happy Meals so you can, put it on your foot and see how many children you molest. We're changing the format. It'll become shareable and delivered in 2 pieces, said Mark Reed of Master Foods, which on Monday announced it would cut the size of Mars and Snickers. They're going to chop it in half. He told Reuters the decision was company's contribution to Britain's Food and Drink Federation's manifesto to address portion size. No more portion distortion. The Federation published the industry's response to the obesity epidemic yesterday. The plan addresses several issues, including a new approach to portion size to reduce overconsumption, labeling, advertising to children, vending, and public education. Yada, yada, yada. And the Brits are getting fat, the Americans are getting fat, Canadians are getting fat, all over the world are getting fat because we're exporting all of this poison all over the world. It's great. So the idea that your candy bars, it'll be the same amount. It'll still be 3.5 ounces or whatever the portion is, but it'll just be split in 2 easy-to-share portions. Right. Here, would you like half of my Snickers bar? How about half of my Mars bar over my dead body?
Right.
Yeah. Fat chance.
Even if they just sell half of it, you'll just buy 2.
And, of course, you notice that in recent years, because they're working so feverishly to cut down on this overconsumption and people dying from being fat, that we've now got king-size everything. You've got king-size Snicker bars and king-size Mars bars and king-size Henry bars. That's Henry.
Right.
Oh, that's Henry. So I rest my case. It's all a dog and pony show to try to convince the public we're doing all these good things for you. We're trying to be good citizens of the planet and good corporate, with a conscience. Now, how's that thing coming? I know we're going to get to the 1,000 with no sweat at all, although it took a lot of prodding and pleading and pushing. But then again, we don't start till whatever. We started, 9:40 this morning? Thereabouts?
9:40.
10:40? Excuse me. Ooh. Well, that was Central Time. 971, we need to get to 1,000 by 2 o'clock, and then we win the prize. I don't know what it is, but we win the prize. And then, if we're good boys and girls, then we get to get that new piece of equipment in here tomorrow that might keep us from getting that thing going off. Yeah. It's a miracle we got through that. We only had just the one, or was there 2?
Just the one.
Just the one during the show, and then we had 1 or 2 real loud blasts before the show. But luckily, we don't want to have those on here too much because Joyce confuses those with fart sounds, and she just goes ballistic over there. I think that's why they're holding part of my check back over there till tomorrow. Say, Joyce is probably went to accounting and said, "That son of a bitch, you didn't let him have it. You screw his life up." Screw you, Joyce, humorless bitch. Anyway, John Nichols writes in The Nation. Let's see, do I have time for this? Yeah, I got time. A lot of reading today, a lot of bedtime stories, and do I apologize for that? No. Good stuff, important stuff. 5 weeks till Election Day, and those people with an IQ of more than 3, those people who are sick and tired of fascism, those people who are sick and tired of having their children and brothers and nephews and everybody else sent over to die as human sacrifices by the chicken hawks, by the neocons, by a bunch of fascist lunatics, those people who are tired of watching their freedoms disappear, those people will get out there and vote. I think there could be like a real surprise, not an October surprise, but a November 2 surprise. Maybe that caller before was right. Not to mention the thing about the overseas ballots, which there's going to be millions this year. People who haven't voted in 20 or maybe even 30 or 40 years are going to be voting because they're pissed off and fired up. And other than them Orthodox Yidlach there in Israel, who of course, sucking up to anybody who smiles at them, who throws them a little free halava, everybody else is going to be voting for Kerry. Not because they like him so much, as we've all pointed out, but because the alternative is really scary. So anyway, John Nichols writes, debate Halliburton. George W. Bush is ready to debate John Kerry, the chronically underestimated president who invariably prevails in face-to-face showdowns with his general election opponents, has been cramming for weeks. According to Bush aides, the president listens to tapes of Kerry's past debate performances and speeches while he's traveling and doing his daily workouts. He's imported a lanky, boring New Englander, New Hampshire U.S. Senator Judd Gregg, to play the role of Kerry during practice debates at the ranch in Crawford, Texas, and he's now memorizing poll-tested one-liners crafted to devastate the Democratic challenger and capture the headlines on the day after Thursday's debate in Moral Gables, Florida. For his part, Kerry is prepping at a resort in Wisconsin. After 2 weeks of honing an increasingly aggressive message regarding the crisis in Iraq and the mismanaged war on terrorism, he'll go into the first of 3 critical debates feeling confident. But if all Kerry does is wrestle Bush for the tough-on-terror mantle, that confidence will prove misplaced. In a foreign policy debate that plays out within the lines defined by White House political czar Karl Rove, the best Kerry can hope for is a draw. Predictable punches will not upset Bush's delivery of the simple basic themes, battling against evil, taking the fight to the terrorist, safer now than on 9/11, that have allowed him to maintain relatively broad support in the face of increasingly awful news from around the world. To knock Bush off message, Kerry will need to come into the debates with a message for which Bush is unprepared, and Kerry will have to hammer away on that message until it supplants Bush's mantras in the mind of the voting public. So what should Kerry talk about? One word, Halliburton. Kerry should make the crony capitalism that's allowed Vice President Dick Cheney's corporation to become the dominant player in the management of the botched occupation and reconstruction of Iraq a part of every answer to every question. The Democrats should explain to Americans again and again and again that one of the primary explanations for the fact that the U.S. invasion of Iraq has turned out badly is the determination of this administration to assure that Halliburton be the primary profiteer in the region. No corporation has gained more from the invasion of Iraq than Halliburton. Since the war began, it's moved from number 19 on the U.S. Army's list of top contractors to number 1. Last year, the company pocketed $4.2 billion in U.S. taxpayer dollars, and that's merely the take so far. The company's Kellogg, Brown, and Root subsidiaries collected what the Washington Post describes as one of the contracting plums of the war, a classified no-bid deal worth up to $7 billion to do the restoration work. Yet by any measure, Halliburton and KBR have done a horrible job of managing the occupation and the reconstruction. The company has been investigated and fined for wrongdoing, and few days go by without new evidence surfacing to suggest that Halliburton is either massively corrupt or massively inept, or, and this is the most likely explanation, a messy combination of the two. Things are so bad that Halliburton officials are now talking about spinning off KBR in order to try to salvage what's left of the parent company's reputation. Kerry has promised that, as president, I will stop companies like Halliburton from profiting at the expense of our troops and taxpayers. Referencing that fact that Cheney continues to receive money from Halliburton, $178,000 plus in 2003 alone, Kerry adds, I will stop companies from receiving no-bid contracts from the government when the president or vice president is still receiving compensation from that company. That's a message Kerry should take into the debates. Bush wants to talk about fighting against evil. Kerry should oblige him by forcing the president to address the evil of war profiteering and the crime of handing no-bid contracts to a company that's funneling money into the vice president's bank account. Pretty good stuff, John Nichols in the Nation, as usual. Anybody paying attention?
No.
No, but at least it made me feel better anyway.
You're listening to Neil Rogers exclusively on 560 QAM.
Yes.
Well, the Kerry girls are hot. I really dig those see-through clothes. And their eyes are pretty, and so's their hair. It's too bad they got their dad's nose. The Bush twins are so smoking when they make those campaign styles.
Rock solid.
Well, they got their looks right from their mom. They got their drinking from their pop. I wish they all could be in D.C. I wish they all could be politicians. I wish they all could be politicians.
See, I told her we'd get our 1,000 votes. You have little faith, and you were in a panic. You were in a cold sweat.
We can't get 1,000 votes. We're only on 3 hours and 20 minutes.
Huh?
Oh, I'm toweled off now.
Well, I think this probably is a record for us because we only had a 3 hour and 20 minute show, and we got like 15 to go, so it's like just over 3 hours, over 1,000 votes. How do you like that?
Oh!
Big deal. 1,021 votes. Well, it's not bad considering only 1 out of what? Every 50 zillion people can actually vote on it, especially because of the AOL crap?
Right.
Boy, do we hate AOL or what?
Yeah.
Man, do they suck. Anyway, 1,021 votes. The election is 5 weeks from today. Which of these is used? I'm voting rock solid for Kerry, 727, 71.2%.
Rock solid.
For Kerry. I'm voting rock solid for Bush, 105, 10.2%.
Rock solid.
For the Nazi-in-chief. I'm leaning to Kerry, 54. I don't give a Schmidt, 33. I'm leaning to Bush, 32. Oh, poor baby. I'm not eligible to vote, 26. I'll vote for Nader, 27, 23, down to 2.2%. Nader's got a 2-2. I bet you he'd look lovely in it. And I'm not voting 21, 2%. How do you like that? I think we made a little bit of a turnaround. Now, you were supposed to remind me to read Diana's column today.
Oh, hey, read Diana's column today.
Okay. Now, who the hell is Diana? Her name is Diana Siegfried. Not related to Siegfried and,
Roy!
I don't think. What's his name doing? Old
Roy!
I'm so tired of hearing about that. Yeah. Anybody that's stupid enough to do stupid pet tricks for a living with a tiger.
Right.
Right?
Well, they asked for it.
Exactly. They've been taunting those damn animals for years now, and finally said, okay, you asked for it, finally we're going to give you what you
Tigers
deserve.
didn't sign up for that, so they probably weren't, down with the program.
Right. Screamer. Anyway, Diana shoots from left. This is in the Globe, which is a tabloid, and you say, who cares about what a columnist writes in the tabloid? But when you hear this, she just puts her thumb right on it. She says, by George, he's got nerve. In her explosive new book, author Kitty Kelly calls President Bush a liar. This is news? Just look at this so-called war on terror. Initially, I supported it very, very reluctantly. I might add, choosing to believe that if decent, intelligent people such as Colin Powell and Tony Blair believed it was the right move, then they obviously knew more than they're telling us. And so be it. The public is not entitled to know everything that's going on. Now, all I know is too many people are coming home either in bits or in body bags, and for what? Does anyone even talk about Osama anymore? Wasn't he the terror we were looking to eliminate? But back to this book, The Family, the real story of the Bush dynasty, which, surprise, surprise, has got the Bush camp up in arms, while going to battle is their first impulse. Kelly claims W was a shy, charmless boozer and a druggie who thumbed his nose at the honor of the presidency by repeatedly snorting cocaine at Camp David when his dad, George Sr., held the highest office in the land. Years earlier, in the 70s, Georgie Boy arranged for a pregnant girlfriend to have an abortion. By then, he had already developed an inseparable relationship with alcohol that began, says the celebrity biographer, when he struggled academically in boarding school. The booze also came in handy with the ladies. An acquaintance recalls George couldn't relate to women unless he was loaded. Kelly's sources attribute substance abuse to his suspension from flying during his stint in the National Guard, although relevant documents are mysteriously missing from the record. It gets worse. The author claims that George was at times so abusive to wife Laura she fled their home several times. The police were never involved, probably because of some arm-twisting by the powerful Bush clan. Not that she was so innocent either, it seems. According to Kelly, Ms. Prim was the go-to girl for marijuana during her college days. Now, I don't care that a president drank or did drugs. I don't care that he or she, I'm ever hopeful, helped terminate a pregnancy. I'd rather have someone real in the office, someone human who's made mistakes, who's lived a little or a lot, and who can relate to people as flawed as we all are. Better that than some sanctimonious straight arrow who looks down on you and me. What gets me, if any of Kelly's claims are true, is that Bush doesn't admit to his past failings nor his present ones, and has the gall to slam his opponents for lesser evils. Sure, his spin doctors had the sense to tell him to fess up to boozing. That goes down smooth with his beer-guzzling, gun-toting supporters, especially after you throw in the religion crap. Please. These supporters blast that Kelly's blockbuster book is outrageous and deliberately timed to affect the upcoming election. Well, duh. But they can just calm themselves down right now because the sad truth is Bush ain't going nowhere. Far as I can tell, the majority of the voting public favors tax cuts for the rich, higher health care costs, fewer jobs, a senseless, expensive war our grandchildren will still be paying for, a gazillion-dollar deficit, the destruction of the environment, and an educational system that's the shame of the free world. And no book, no matter how sensational, is going to change that. Well, that is so perfect. There, she lays it all out there for you right there at the end in that last paragraph. Every single issue is a minus. taking a multi-trillion-dollar surplus, turning it into a multi-trillion-dollar deficit in 4 years.
Yeah, but
the environment going to hell in a handbasket. Oh, we don't have to worry about global warming. There is no such thing. The hell with that Kyoto Treaty. We don't want to be sucked into that or any other treaty that anybody ever signed. Every single issue is in the negatory, and the American public, the geniuses that they are, 54% approval rating, only 44% disapprove. And every poll now shows them either with a slight lead or a big lead. Or maybe galloping away with a George Gallup lead.
Listening to Neil Rogers exclusively on 560 QAM.
I'm dying over here.
Are you optimistic about the way that things are going? So I never ever seem to beat it all. Don't you ever worry when you see what's going down. Well, about my business, that is don't exist at all. When it's time to function as a feeling human being, with a bachelor of arts, help you get by.
Oh, we're fine.
Money.
Howard Stern Show. Neil Rogers is Sports Around the Clock. WQAM. Miami, Fort Lauderdale.
No!